Well, hello. Let's just jump into the patch notes because this is gonna be a long one. But I thought that might as well go through it because we only have this patch notes reading only so many times a year, so might as well. Like, I'm not gonna read through the table of contents because we're gonna get there eventually anyway. So yeah. Curse of the Allflame Challenge League. Embark on voyages, Allflame crafting, endgame improvements, Mercenaries of Tartarus return, Abyss rework, Legion rewards overhaul, Atlas anomalies, Luminary Ascendancy class, Socket colors reworked, Spellcaster rebalance, and new Spellcaster skills. So yeah, the Curse of the Allflame Challenge League. Meet Valerie, a dangerous Corsair captain who needs your help retrieving long-forgotten treasures from the icy depths of Wraeclast oceans. Find charts scattered around Wraeclast, board the Sovereign, and set sail. Dive to the ocean floor where lanterns imbued with the spark of the Allflame will shield you from the crushing waves. Explore and claim what you can while you can. Lost gold, valuable chests, and lurking threats await you. Upon charting enough areas, connect them together to create a voyage, one giant shift or excursion. Revisit each chart to claim its rewards again, while also amplifying those rewards in several different ways. Head below decks and you'll find the heart of the ship at work. Feed it an item and it will split into a multitude of ghostly outcomes, one of which you can keep for yourself. Find valuable ducats on the seafloor and use them to warp and twist items in ways not seen in centuries. For more information about the expansion, check out pathofexile.com/allflame. With 3.29.0, there are standard, hardcore, and solo self-found variations of the Curse of the Allflame Challenge League available. They have the same core mechanics and items. You can create private league versions of these leagues with mods that make the game harder. The hardcore variations of Curse of the Allflame are parented to the standard Curse of the Allflame equivalent, meaning if you die in hardcore Curse of the Allflame, you can continue on in the standard Curse of the Allflame League. So again, you can't rip your character from the league for like the season into standard right away. Yeah. The new Curse of the Allflame Challenge League includes a set of 40 new challenges and 8 new challenges in Ruthless Curse of the Allflame. There are microtransaction rewards for completing challenges that are only obtainable in this league. These rewards will be revealed in an upcoming news post. I hope that it will be something a bit more, special compared to an armor set. I mean, I'm the armor sets. It's not like they were terrible or anything in like previous leagues. It was an armor set. It's just I would like something that's like a little bit more interesting. But again, if you have fun, you're playing anyway, and if you don't have fun, you probably shouldn't force yourself just to get the microtransaction anyway. But it would be nice. It's like the I'm gonna mention it again that I'm still a little bit bummed that I didn't get the purple blood, but I didn't really feel like playing and I couldn't really play anyway because technical issues as well. So it was not meant to be. But I think there were like other MTXs. I think there was something that turned it into some sort of lava. Yeah, I think in one of the Kirax Vault MTX. Yeah, there are like other similar ones that change your lifeless color. Anyway, I'm not holding on to hope that it's gonna happen in just the reward MTXs. From the 19th challenge onwards, and for every third challenge after that, you will receive pieces of the Curse of the Allflame totem pole decoration displayed in your hideout. The totem pole permanently showcases how many of the Curse of the Allflame challenges you completed during the league. Obviously, 40 out of 40 is the goal, as usual. But you know, I'll play, and if I end up not enjoying it, then I'm not gonna, you know, not gonna force myself to play anyway. All right, let's get to the new content and features. Introduced two new Bloodline classes, one of which is exclusive to the Curse of the Allflame Challenge League. That's nice. Added a new exceptional skill gem, Path of Exile, cast Pact, empowering spells that either fire projectiles, apply an effect to an area around the targeted location, or fire chaining beams, causing them to deal more damage and have enhanced coverage. However, using this skill also burdens you with an affliction. Added a new exceptional skill gem, Pact of Gore. Cast a pact empowering your damage over time spells, burdening you with an affliction. This skill also grants a Hunger of Gore buff for a duration, causing Flesh Rend to trigger periodically. Added a new exceptional skill gem, Pact of Katash. Cast a pact empowering your damaging wall spells but burdening you with an affliction. Empowered wall spells deal more damage, have less soul gain prevention duration, and refund souls on use. Added a new exceptional skill gem, Pact of Lycia. Cast a pact empowering the next channeling spells you cast yourself but burdening you with an affliction. Empowered spells deal more damage and periodically trigger lightning bolts while channeling. Added a new exceptional support gem, Cursing Current. Support skills that hit enemies, providing increased effect of chill and shock inflicted with supported skills, causing enemies to be chilled when they are shocked by your hits, and shocked when they are chilled by your hits. And the new exceptional support gem, Crystal Fall, supported skills will trigger Falling Crystal on hit, causing a giant crystal of Abyssal Soulstone to be called from above, falling to slam down at a targeted location. Support slam skills cannot support triggered skills or skills used by things other than you. I got like the stuff that they are preventing people to be too cute with it. Trying to, you know, use them in unintended ways. But I'm sure someone will find some interesting interaction anyway. It's like I don't think they are trying to close the door on everything. Where was I? Added a new intelligence strength skill, mana infused staff. Infuses your staff with arcane energy, lowering your mana cost and increasing your chance to block. When you block, you release an arcane wave, damaging enemies in a ring-shaped area over a duration. So honestly, I like that because that is something that I've been thinking about. That the staff or the staves have that implicit with the block, and it just, I don't know, I didn't really see any angle that would really just have something that leans into that, like the staves having the block chance. Like, if you're using a staff, you're using it for other reasons, and then you just have that random whatever 24% or something on it, and then you don't really go further into that. Like, I don't know if with this it's possible to just because everything is like all the block nodes on the tree. I guess that's still the case, that they are related to the shields, or like based on having a shield equipped. So I don't know. I don't know. Would it be that OP if you could like build towards having like block cap when you're using a staff? But I don't know. I'm overthinking it, because increasing the chance to block, it's probably just gonna be a bit more. But I don't think you could get to max blocking, because I think all the other nodes are still tied to having a shield. Anyways, let's move on. Where were we? Added a new strength, intelligence transfigured skill, Divine Blast of Radiance. Project a beam of holy light from a shield to a targeted location, causing an implosion of holy energy. This energy then lingers for a short duration as an orb, periodically releasing larger explosions, greater than reductions to attack speed. Affect the rate at which explosions occur. Like Divine Blast, so it scales with attack speed. And that could be interesting. Added a new strength, intelligence, transfigure skill, holy hammers of spirals, slam the ground, consuming all power charges and calling down a cascade of holy hammers from above in an outward spiral. Further hammers are called down for each power charge consumed. Requires a mace, scepter, or staff. Added a new strength, intelligence, transfigured skill, holy sweep of hammer falls. Brings a two-handed mace or staff in a circle, calling down waves of holy hammers for a duration. Increases and reductions to attack speed will affect the rate at which these hammer falls occur. Okay, added a new strength, intelligence, transfer skill, reap butchery, bloody sight swipes around you, applying a physical damage over time debuff at hitting enemies with physical damage. If any survive, you gain a blood charge, which raises the damage and cost of a new skill. Players can have 5 maximum blood charges. I'm gonna probably say straight away, I don't think I'm gonna play with any of these new skills. Hopefully they find someone who has okay, I'm talking about the skill part, but these are the pacts should be interesting, and it's like afflictions. I think that was one that was shown on the reveal stream. I think that was the one that has like what 20. I mean it matters if it's like 20% reduced or it's like 20% less movement speed, something like that was the affliction. But I'm gonna be honest, I think that is something that I would take because I'm slow anyway. Like even if my movement speed is fast, I am personally slow because I don't play efficiently anyway. So maybe that would be something that interests me, that I can actually get some sort of benefit in character strength from being slow. But yeah, we'll see obviously how it fits into everything else. Added 15 new unique items, added 3 new divination cards, added a keywording and pop-up pinning system used in Path of Exile 2, allowing you to inspect certain words for more information. That is so good. That is so good. We will gradually be making more use of these systems in future patches. I like that. I like that a lot, because that's something that I like a lot in PoE 2. That you can just like hold down the hover and get more information. I think that's very nice. Obviously, it's more useful for new or newer players, but there's always like something that even if you've played for quite a few years, you're still not entirely sure about, or maybe it's something that could have changed over the years, and you just didn't know about it, or you just glossed over it when it happened. So, anyways, it's nice that whole quality of life thing. Added a new pearlescent amulet base type item, which has an all elemental resistance to the implicit modifier. That is nice. That is nice, I think. I like that. Because I mean, probably you'll, I guess later you'll end up with stat but I mean like strength in dexterity, that's sort of implicit most likely at the end. But I guess if you go for the what is it, focused and simplex, that kind of those kinds of amulets, then obviously those are different implicits, and then this is not in the same ballpark. So I think generally I like it that you have just another option that's probably in like early mid game, or like like in early maps. Another option might just sometimes you just missing that bit of resist instead of the bit of stat that you would need. Anyways, I think it's at the very least it doesn't hurt anyone. So nice. When playing in a party, any player is now able to interact with the expedition detonator, eldritch altars, harvest plots, and sentinels. Probably a good thing, I guess. I don't know. I haven't really played in a party ever. Volatile Wall Ores and Crystallized Rancor now have dedicated slots in the currency stash tab. Okay, now the Volatile Wall Ores that Andrew mentioned it, I think, in the in the stream. He likes Volatile Wall Orbs a lot, but I wasn't based on the wording that I wasn't 100% sure if that would mean like does that mean that he likes it and he's gonna put it in the loot pool somehow, or does it just mean that is an added incentive or motivation to put them into the drop pool later when they sort out what happens with Mirage? But so like based on this, like Volatile Warlords and the Crystallized Rancor, they have, because I think the Rancor had, there was some talk about how that would come from. So I mean, I because like I think the reasonable assumption would be like when I see this that Volatile Valves has their own slot, then you would kind of assume that it's in the league. It's like Volatile Orbs are staying in the drop pool. Anyways, maybe I'm misunderstanding. We'll see. Either way, like I can live without, for example, Volatile Orbs. But for example, it was nice because even for me, I ended up playing the Minion Pact as many others, and I wanted to go for the 100% physical hit damage converted to element, and then just have 90% all it's like 90% on all of the elemental resistances. And for that I needed Volatile Wall Orbs because I needed a higher than 20% roll on Dawn Breaker, the Dawn Breaker, I think. The shield from Exarch. And that's, I needed that to hit 100%. So I guess it mattered even for me that Volatile Wall Orbs are in the game. Added 2 new crafting bench options, unlocked by default. Reroll 3 modifiers on a rare item for a cost of 3 Chaos Orbs, and reroll a modifier on a rare item for a cost of 8 Chaos Orbs. Is that targeted? Oh yeah, with the crafting bench, I don't know, why I first thought it was like map thing. I was thinking about the map, like, when would I reroll it? That's interesting. I can just YOLO reroll something for 8k. That's interesting. Isla and King's March, Nico in the mining camp, and the Nenham in the menagerie are now all able to identify items for you. Neat. There is now a crafting bench available in every town from Act 2 onwards. Huh. Cadet is now a maximum stack size of 20, previously 10. Nice. The audio for most raised specters should now be quieter. The waypoint in the Solaris Temple level 1 in Act 8 now has been moved closer to the level 2 entrance. That's neat. Again, continue to incrementally improve the sound, art, effects, and environments. Okay. And now we go on to the Mercenaries of Tartarus as a core league. Mercenaries from the lawless cities of Tartarus can now be found in areas from Act 3 onwards, awaiting you to accept their duel. Withdraw from an item the mercenary is carrying. If you lose, the gold you levied will be forfeited, and the mercenary teleports out. Win, however, and the mercenary will aid you as an ally for a number of areas, in addition to winning the spoils, of course. You are guaranteed to find the mercenary in the following campaign areas: the Scepter of God, the Grand Arena, the Ridge, and the Hidden Underbelly. Mercenaries found in these areas will not have any rucksack items. Yeah. So I guess you could like go back even, and then pick up a mercenary if you need like some sort of extra fighting power for the next part in the campaign. Because I think they said that you have to be like from combat area to combat area, take them. But would that mean that you can even use waypoints, or can you like, go with like waypoint to waypoint? Because I mean, technically, like the hideout is not combat area, but you can like shoot your spells or whatnot. So I guess you can't go into town with it. It's like if you go into town and then you come out, then that's good, because then you lose the mercenary, something like that. Hired mercenaries will scale up their passive stats and skills to the level of the current area you are in, up to a maximum of level 68. The level of items you can equip to your mercenary is still kept by the level of the area where you found that mercenary. Up to a maximum of level 68. I was just thinking about the passive stats, like how that would work with the... Whatever, we'll see. There's no need to speculate. In map areas, if you don't like any of the mercenary offers, you're able to request their warrant. The warrant is a promise to return and duel again at a later date. A call to action which summons that specific mercenary to a future map with the same set of skills but a new set of items. Warrants also allow you to trade specific mercenaries to other players. A mercenary will only grant their warrant once, however, preventing you from fighting that mercenary in every single area. You can like reroll and reroll and reroll the same thing. Or it would be like another thing if you have mercenary that is like a good matchup for you, I guess, and then you just like, oh, I'm just gonna fight that every round. I'm just gonna fight them every round, and then eventually I get a good item anyway. Because I guess rerolling the items of the same mercenary would be the same as letting it roll over to a new mercenary. If you only look at the setup or equipment that they have, if you're like going for the loot part of it. Unlike in mercenaries of Tartarus League, having a mercenary does not count as a player party member, so having a mercenary does not increase the monster life or the quantity or rarity of items dropped from monsters. Added the new Luminary Ascendancy class for the Scion, which allows you to permanently hire mercenaries. Luminaries can have up to 3 permanently hired mercenaries, 2 in reserve in towns and hideouts, and 1 as an active ally in combat. So it's like in the league, in the mercenaries of Tartarus League. Unlike with regular mercenaries, you can change the items permanently hired mercenaries have equipped, opening up innumerate potential build possibilities. Okay, the following unique items are now once again obtained through mercenary counters have been removed from a core drop pool. Azadi Crest, Binds of Bloody Vengeance, the Ghastly Theater, End of Heresy, Hullcrack, and Scorn Flux. Out of those, I think Azadi Crest is the only one that I'm familiar with. I don't really know much about the others, but at the very least, I haven't used them. Tartar gems are no longer possible rewards from gem chests in Heist. They, again, are obtained from mercenary counters. Added support for mercenaries of Tartarus to the Atlas passive tree. Added a series of Tartan Scarabs. Tartan Scarab areas inhabited by the mercenary. Tartan Scarab of Infamy. Mercenaries found in area are infamous. Mercenaries found in area are accompanied by 2 wild mercenaries. Tartan Scarab of Renown. All equipment, items, and mercenaries found in area are unique. That would mean that's like, fishing for mage buds and whatnot, I guess. Or like fishing for unique items. I wonder how much it's gonna cost. But like if you think about it, it might just be that, even just the opportunity cost of just not running a different strat. What I'm trying to say is that it might not be all that expensive, but it also depends on rarity or like whatever the Atlas tree has. I haven't really looked at that in what on the tree, that the part of it, the Atlas tree that they have shown on the stream. We'll see. But if it's like feasible, I might try to do that. Tartan Scarab was surprising all alliances. Wild rogue exiles in an area have 50% chance to be accompanied by wild mercenary. Wild mercenaries have increased difficulty for each wild mercenary in area. Mercenary rucksacks in endgame maps can no longer generate orbs of transmutation or orbs of augmentation. Edit seating exarch altar modifiers that drop mercenaries, scarabs. Hired mercenaries now have an information sheet with a list of all their passive stats. Okay, so now what I want to mention is that I don't know how much of a pain it's gonna be, how much of a hassle it's gonna be to check not only if the mercenary is useful to you, or especially if you are playing Luminary, which many people will be playing Luminary most likely. I mean, considering that there isn't really anything else that I'm, you know, thinking about, like other builds with the other classes, I also might go Luminary, but I will look at the possibilities a bit more. And anyway, like as always, I'm gonna be undecided even like 5 minutes before the league starts. So you can theory craft and whatnot, but we'll see if it's even relevant when the league actually starts. I don't remember if I read those parts actually. Yeah. Mercenary rucksacks in endgame maps can no longer generate orbs of transmutation or orbs of augmentation. Edit seating exarch altar modifiers that drop mercenary scarabs. Hired mercenaries now have an information sheet with a list of all their passive stats. Okay, maybe I have read this, maybe I didn't. I got lost anyway. Worst case, I read them twice. That's fine. So, what I wanted to say is that if I have to check every mercenary to see if they can be useful for someone else, meaning that I should get the warrant instead, right? Get the warrant instead and sell it to other people. Because like if I have to check every single mercenary, like is it because it's easy to see if it's something that I need or I'm interested in, but then to see it if it's good for anyone, and then would that mean that I can never just start fighting mercenaries and I just have to beg all of them? You know what I'm afraid of is that the strategy is gonna be like making a warrant of every single one of them and just put it in a dump. I mean, just put it all in the trade and then just see if someone buys it instead of actually just fighting them. Right? For example, like let's say you have something, you have like 5 scout orbs or something. That's like the best option that you can take. Like, am I losing every single time that I fight someone and fight them for a smaller reward than what their potential selling price would be? But I do recognize that in practice it might just be that the valuable ones are gonna be like pretty rare, and most of the time, even if I end up doing the warrants, it's not gonna sell even for a chaos. So, and I think that is actually the one that I would prefer, where it is like very obvious tells, like for example if there's like very specific skills that are important or impactful, and those would go into the warrant, and otherwise I can just fight whatever mercenary comes in my way. Yeah. I just really don't want to check every single one of them thinking about whether or not this is useful for anyone else. Obviously, it's more between luminaries or towards luminaries, because other people don't really care if it's it's temporary, and if you lose them in like one map or a few maps. I don't know how they actually end up doing it in the mapping stage, because like earlier they can be around for like a limited number of areas, and they were like not entirely sure, at least in the Q&A, I think, whether or not this is gonna be something where like you can like map to map and they stick around for like 3 maps or something, or if it's just gonna be 1 map and done in those stages. Anyways, we'll see. It's fine. Okay, Abyss revamp. Abyss has received function changes to the mechanic to improve the gameplay significantly. Oh, and one more thing to the luminaries that I really will have to see and look further into. Like also the points, because there were the nodes where you can like this, the mercenary can equip unique boots or gloves or whatnot. But I think someone mentioned that maybe there's no body armor there, so they can like not use unique body armor, which is I guess it's fine, right? But if I go straight up based on logic or how many interesting things and how many weird shenanigans you could get up to when it was the Mercenaries League, it's gonna be OP most likely, right? Like just playing it like because first it was like, oh, it feels pretty bad to basically not have an ascendancy just to be able to have permanent mercenary, but it's probably gonna be OP. It's probably gonna be even more interesting, I guess, maybe compared to the regular ascendancies. But I mean, it depends whether or not you like that play style. Like if you want your character itself to have that feedback from like self-casting or self-attacking, then it's probably not as great, or it doesn't feel as great. But if you are like down to play totems or minions or whatnot, then they're like something that when you're not the primary damage dealer yourself, then it's probably gonna feel better for you. Anyways, I'm still not 100% sure whether or not I'm gonna be Luminary, or if I see something else, or the other option, when you don't start with Luminary, you start with something else, something old reliable, and then you go up and then you complete the Atlas and then you reroll a second character. But to be honest, it's quite rare that I reroll a second character, so whatever I start with, I prefer if I can do everything with it, or at most respecting the same characters. Like I don't really feel like leveling an entirely new one, but it might be the more efficient option anyway. All right, I'm gonna stop with the mercenary stuff. I'm just gonna move on because I'm barely into the patch notes and I'm already more than 30 minutes. Yeah, I mean this is always a long one, especially if I go on tangents. But if I don't go on tangents, then I don't really feel like I'm adding any quote unquote additional value to the patch notes, because then you could just go and read it yourself. Anyways, so Abyss has received function changes to the mechanic to improve the gameplay significantly. Abyssal pits and the cracks leading up to them are now already opened before you approach, subjugating the souls of the enemies unlucky enough to be within its influence. Slaying these enemies sends their souls into the pit, drawing the attention and ire of the minions of Kolamak dwelling beneath. Upon slaying enough of them, the Abyssal Legion will spill forth from their domain. Gone are the days of chasing a meandering abyssal crack around the map, often backwards. That's nice. That's very nice. Alongside this revamp, a new abyssing endgame pinnacle boss has been added with its own set of brand new unique items. Hopefully at least one of them is gonna be a hype one. It's like big money, big value, that kind of stuff. Abyss is now the exclusive source of abyssal jewels and Stygian Vices, the Abyssal Jewels can still be obtained rarely within abyss biomes in Delve. I mean, that's fine. That's that's not gonna. I'm very sure there's not a lot of Abyssal Jewels coming from Delve anyway. And if that's fine, but otherwise it's nice that they come from there. And now that the Abyss is better, it's not gonna be as much of a pain to play it. So looks pretty good. I probably kind of similar to PoE2, and it's quite nice there. Abyssal Delirium Orbs can no longer be obtained. Yep. Abyssal Jewels can no longer roll increased damage with hits and ailments against Abyssal monsters. Minions deal increased damage with hits and ailments against Abyssal monsters. Additional physical damage reduction against Abyssal monsters. An additional physical damage reduction if you weren't damaged by a hit recently. Yeah, those most can go away. That's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna miss them. The base Abyss Scarab now has a limit of 5 from 2. Ooh. So you can just jam it through with jam a bunch of abysses in there. That's nice. If an area already has an abyss, modifiers that cause areas to contain additional abysses will instead add to additional pits. So yeah, you can just spread them out. You get a bunch of them, but it's probably just gonna be like a mix of it. Like there's other abyss scarabs that can have more interesting effects. So I'm thinking that the 5 would probably just be some sort of budget thing, I guess. Maybe it's a bit scared it's gonna be like cheap, and then you can just jam a bunch of them in there. If you're not like investing into a different scarab setup. The base scarab of multitudes now grants abyss chasms, whatever, abyss chasms in area spawn 100% increased monsters per soul fed. Okay. Alright. Whatever. The Abyss Scarab of Edifice has been renamed to Abyss Scarab of Crystals and causes Abyss Pits in areas that do not contain a reward instead create an Abyssal Crystal. The Abyss Scarab of Profound Depth has been renamed to Abyssal Scarab of Concert and causes one Abyss Pit in area to spawn an Abyssal Concert. Okay, we'll see what that actually is. The Abyssal Consort. The following changes have been made to the highest tier modifiers for Abyssal Jewels. Their lower tier counterparts have been adjusted accordingly. Okay, 20% increased effect of cold ailments from 15, 20% increased effect of lightning ailments from 15, 8% increased impale effect from 6. Impale effect no longer rolls on hypnotic outgasted eye jewels. Okay, plus 34 to maximum mana. That's a nerf. Got that from 40. 5% of damage taken recouped mana up from 3. 30 to 42 fire damage to spells buff. 28, 38 cold damage buff. 8 to 59 lightning damage buff. 23 to 32 physical damage buff. Yeah. 23 to 32 chaos damage to spells buff. 30 to 44 physical fire damage to spells while holding a shield. Okay, buff, cold buff, lightning buff, physical buff, chaos buff. So these are like the shield. They got the conditionals. Holding a shield, wielding a two-handed weapon, dual wielding. 8% chance to gain Unholy Might for 4 seconds on melee kill, up from 5. Minions have 50% increased movement speed, up from 10. 25% reduced effect of curses on you while on consecrated ground. Previously up to 15. So I mean, would that mean that you could be like, because I always like when you can like drop something extra in there. Like for example, you have consecrated ground like from some source, so that's like already 50%, right? So like 25. You throw like 2 of them into the tree, and then you like constantly have curse. So that would be 100% reduced effect of curses, right? So that would be like pretty nice. Meanwhile, with 50, it would be kind of awkward because like to add up to add up, you need like 4 of them. It's like not worth it. Or even if you are doing the Darkness Enthroned, then you have like a max roll on that. You can just have one of these, and then you have like some source of consecrated ground. I guess the easier would be you just have the sulfur flask, and then you just have is a sulfur flask, right? Yeah, okay. So that's nice. 12% chance to avoid elemental ailments while you have elusive, up from 10. Enemies hindered by you have 35% reduced life regeneration, up from 20. Blinded by you have 30% reduced critical strike chance. And those are like less tempting, I guess. But more is better, so definitely will not complain. Legion Revamp. Added 4 crystals of permutation to the domain of timeless conflict, which you can place enshrouded items into. Shrouded items can be transformed to another unique item of the same. Like you've seen this in the stream. Shrouded items can be transformed to another unique of the same item class with the vestigial implicit modifier derived from the enshrouded item. So like you have like grab one unique item, you jam it into the thing, and then it throws an ancient orb on it, and then it slaps one of the mods from the unique item that you jammed into there as a vestigial implicit modifier. Getting monsters in the domain with charge the enshrouded item, and the enshrouded item fully charged, you can interact with the crystal permutation, drop the new item. Add in the following new currency items that can drop from Legion generals in map areas, which can enshroud unique items. Karui, Enshrouding Cast, Imperial, Maraket, Templar, Val. These items cannot drop in the domain of timeless conflict. So yeah, so for that you have to do the map Legions. Legion encounters will now automatically break out all monsters in the encounter if you've broken out 90% of the total monsters, as well as chests, surgeons, and generals. That's nice. Like they said, there's a straggler somewhere you didn't notice. It was like hidden away, and then it feels bad that you feel like you've taken out everything. You feel like you've opened everyone, and then you still don't get the full thing. So yeah, 90% seems pretty reasonable. With that, unrelenting timeless emblems have been removed. Existing items have been converted to regular timeless emblems. Okay, I'm reading everything, but I'm not gonna read that. And Legion emblems, it's right there. There's no point, the Eternal Karui, Maraket, Templar, Val, they have like the same, pretty much similar. I think like the last one, or like last two one, maybe that's the difference. All right. Okay, I guess I'm gonna read it after all. Because 10% increased experience, gain 1% increased rewards from progress from monster kills. Monsters deal 10% increased damage. That seems like the same for everyone, and then the last two lines are different. For Eternal, 10% increased accuracy rating for each time they have been revived, and 5% increased AoE. For Karui, 50% increased critical strike chance and plus 5% crit multi each time they are revived. For Maraket, 10% increased toughness and 5% increased attack and cast speed for each time they have been revived. And Templar, 10%, 10% increased toughness and 3% of enemy elemental resistances penetrated. Now that could be, surprising if you don't pay attention and suddenly they have a bunch of pen, and because like you're used to a certain amount of taking a certain amount of damage, and then suddenly they have pen, and then suddenly you get surprised when you get chunked pretty hard. So that can be interesting. And then for Wall Emblem, 10% increased toughness and 5% of physical damage with extra chaos. Incubators no longer be obtained. Can be obtained probably. Existing incubators and incubated items, standard leagues are unaffected by this change. Perfectly fine. I don't think really anyone's gonna miss it, because like it even if it was something that you were like actually actually getting the benefit from it. It's kind of annoying because like you're either doing something where you're like not killing that much and you're not killing that fast, and then it takes forever to scale up, or you're just if you're doing something where you kill a bunch of mobs and then you have to keep replacing them, and it's like, oh, this one took longer than the other one because this is a different number of monsters, and then they drop and then you forget to replace them, and then it's just it maybe other people enjoyed it, but I think that overall it's not gonna be missed overall that much. Could be wrong, could be wrong with anything, but I personally will not miss them. That is something that I am certain of. The Timeless Delirium Orb is no longer obtainable, but existing items in standard can still be used. Rogue no longer has a craft to apply a random incubator to an item. Trinkets that have a chance to receive additional Legion items while opening a reward chest in a heist instead now grant a chance to receive additional gold. The stash tab affinity for incubators have been removed. Timeless splinters can no longer drop outside of Legion encounters and maps completed by Kingsmarch. Atlas runners, the highest rogue equipment modifiers, the highest chance to duplicate scripts. So like basically this is like all the Legion stuff that they don't want anymore taken out. Yeah. What was I? Yeah, so can no longer roll, duplicate. Legion General does not drop more timeless splinters on average. Non-Surge and non-General Legion monsters no longer drop timeless splinters, so it's like concentrated into the generals. I guess it would kind of feel bad if it's like no. Well, I mean, non-Surgeon, so I guess Surgeon can still drop. I guess Chest can still drop. Yeah, Surgeon and Chest now a lower chance to drop timeless splinters, but now drop them in higher stack sizes. Lower the effect of map item quantity on the chances for Surgeons and Chests to drop timeless splinters. Yeah. The emblematic Atlas passive skill grants 0.3% chance for timeless splinters to drop as timeless summons inside your maps. So that's went down to 0.3 from 0.6. And the small passive preceding it now grants 10% increased quantity of timeless splinters dropped by Legion generals and maps. So it's like kind of counter acted, I guess. So you get less full drops, but then I guess you get more splinters, and then overall it should be similar. I think that's the plan here. That's the idea here. Okay, small passive skills in the logistical support and village treasures cluster no longer provide chest or monster duplicate splinter chance. So like I'm was kind of just tripping over my tongue in here, but that's also because I haven't really formed the Legion all that much. So like all of these they don't mean as much to me. I think I've only done Legion as much as it was necessary for challenges, and otherwise I haven't really played Legion. Obviously, I played the league itself, and obviously everyone played Legion because that was the league, but since then I haven't really done it that much. So those are the Legion changes. We'll see how it pans out. And the next one is interesting. The gem socket changes. Gems can now be socketed into any equipment socket, even if the gem color does not match the socket color. Socketed gems now gain 10% quality in red, green, and blue sockets if the gem color matches the socket color. Item sockets are now always white by default. Each socket generated an item a small chance to roll as a red, green, or blue socket instead, and selected color will still be proportional to the attribute requirements of the item. The chance for sockets to roll as red, green, or blue increases with higher item levels. Chromatic ores and tainted chromatic ores now force one of the sockets on the item to be non-white, while the rest of the sockets on the item will roll colors normally. Higher quality on items increases the chance for non-white sockets to appear. Currently, it adds sockets to items, jeweler orbs, tainted jeweler orbs, and orb of binding will always generate the added sockets as white. This includes adding sockets through the crafting bench. Okay, we'll get to the part when I you get the when I'm groaning about, I guess, because they mentioned something. As a result of these changes, chromatic orbs are rarer and are no longer sold by vendors in town in exchange for jewelers' orbs. The gold fees for chromatic orbs have also been increased for currency exchange. The corruption outcome from wall orbs that changes the socket on a piece of equipment to a white socket has been removed. The outcome still not turns a random white socket on an item to be a non-white socket. So now we go the other way. The corruption outcome from locus corruption that turns all sockets white on a piece of equipment has been removed. This outcome is that now turns all white sockets on the item to be non-white. that's pretty cute. Trinket modifiers for a chance of chromatic orbs to drop his jewelers orbs or orb of fusing that's highest on an overall. Adding new trinket modifiers for a chance of jewelers orbs or orb of fusing to drop his chromatic orbs in heist. I mean that can now suddenly that can be kind of juicy because basically you're going for the +10 on your gem, +10% quality, which as obviously first comes to mind is the. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter that much considering how the breakpoints are in with Holy Relic of Conviction. I'm just thinking there's another additional 10% quality there that can, because like it would make sense if you just get the one blue and then you just put the Holy Relic in there and that you get the 10. I wonder how DLS is gonna be. I mean, I see DLS further down there, so I'll get there in a sec. So where are we? The bestiary or bestiary. Okay, bestiary is bestiary. Okay. So crafting options to create a stack of 8 chromatic orbs instead of create a rare 4-linked helmet. Boo. Added the following new crafting bench options that modify socket colors, at least 2 non-white, 5 chrome, at least 3 non-white, 20, and at least 4 non-white, 75. If I jump back to the previous one, that the bench crafting it also adds it as white. I mean that as much as I grumble about it a little bit, like it also makes sense because otherwise it would be just so easy to force whatever color. So that would mean, I guess, that would tie into the everything, right? Because like if that, like if the chromas are rare, then and you could like force it with the crafting bench, the colored socket, then you would have but everything just tied to it, like the cost of the jewelers and then the best uses of the jewelers, and then that would be that, and that would tie to the fusing, and then that would tie to the linking, and then all kinds of cascading effects. So I guess it's nice that the edit socket with the bench method is the regular white socket. The crafting bench options for red, green, and blue sockets have been removed. The Horde crafting station option to reforge color of a random socket on an item, turning it white, has been removed. I wonder what happens with all the all the stuff that is like, oh yay, it was so nice that it was white, like the sockets were white, and then suddenly it's bad. Suddenly it's bad that the sockets are white. And like retroactively go back, how do I unmake them? Especially if you have like the stuff that's like mirrored, and then all of the sockets are white, and then suddenly you're missing the 10% quantity. I don't know. Like if this is gonna roll over to into standard, then this is gonna be the thing. Because I guess if this is the update, are these kind of changes still relevant to the base game, or like relevant to standard as well? Anyways, it's gotta feel bad, for people who have like a bunch of full white socketed gear, and it's like, oh, it's nice because you can put everything into that again, and now suddenly it's a downside. Anyways, let's get back to reading. The Horticrafting Station option to reforge the color or random socket on an item, turning it white, has been removed. Following unique items now have a hidden property on them, preventing them from having white sockets. Ooh, nice. The other is Malefaction, Skin of the Lord, and Skin of the Loyal. Existing versions of the uniques are not affected by this change. The other is Malefaction, unique body armor now has gems socket that always has a quality bonus from socket color. It no longer has gems can be socketed in this item ignoring socket color, as this is now the default behavior. This change affects existing versions of the unique. It now also has gems socketed in green sockets at 20% quality. Previously 30, you can update existing versions of this item to the new worst value of the divine orb, which feels so inclined. So I mean, it would like add up to it, right? Because like at 20% the quality, like 30, but if you get the quality bonus anyway, so that would be like the same thing. If you like do on the older stuff, you would have the 30%, and then you would have the actual additional 10%, if I understand it correctly. The Pariah unique ring now has plus 100 to 200 to maximum life per red socket, 100 to 200 to maximum mana green socket, and 100 to 200 maximum energy shield per blue socket. All previously plus 100%. Existing versions of this unique can be updated to new values with Divine Orb. So like the Pariah unique ring with white socket, does that still stay, or is that like the default thing, and then you have like a higher, you know, on the other three colors, so it makes sense for it to potentially use it, not as like the white socket. I don't know, because like the other part is I think the quality. Wait, what am I thinking? Wasn't the quality deleted anyway in the previous part when they removed all the quality? Never mind. I mean, I guess I haven't looked at the Pariah in a while, so yeah. So I guess the white socket doesn't even matter anymore. All right. So who's gonna use that? I don't know. The Prismatic Eclipse unique sword now has 25 to 35% increased global physical damage per red socket from 25. 10 to 14, increased global attack speed per green socket from 12, and 0.6 to 0.8% of physical attack damage released mana per blue socket, previously 0.4. It also now has plus 0.2 to plus 0.3 meters of melee strike range per white socket, previously plus 0.2. Well, obviously 0.2. Existing items can be updated to the new values using a divine orb. The Skeva unique sword no longer have physical attack damage dishes life per red socket. So yeah, these are like stuff which basically has you know, per socketed some certain colored socket, red, blue, white, or green, and then those like kind of changed the untouched. So unique has 12% to all elemental resistance to each empty white socket on any equipped item. Obviously, it's like, you know, lower because, you know, if white socket is the default, then it's not really an interesting extra or something, which is like nice because it's like if you would ever even use that, this like you either have colored socket and then you get the quality on that, and then all the other white sockets just give you something. And maybe I don't actually know what, you know, like level requirement or what else that unique amulet has. But I'm just thinking that it was like leveling or something, isn't it? Like a bunch of potential elemental res. But then if it's like, you know, requires level 70 or something, then it doesn't matter anymore. I'm just thinking that in leveling you can have like empty sockets without like necessarily hurting. Obviously if it's like that sort of build that doesn't need as many sockets. Anyways, I don't think it really matter either way. The bow passive mastery, okay, so green sockets and red sockets and enchantments of body items. I kind of, you know, look through this, but it's, you know, it's basically just crossing all the T's, dotting all the I, dotting all the I's, sort of thing. Like you just gotta pass over everything that has this sort of behavior with colored sockets. The Omen of Blanching has been renamed to Omen of Trichromatism. It now will be consumed when you use a chromatic ornament item, guarantee at least one red, green, or blue socket. Oh, okay, I see. So yeah, that's I think that's the part that I misunderstood. That I think that trichromatism is the one that they took up and guarantee at least one. Anyways, I think I got lost in something when I was watching the stream. Anyways, enchantments and body armors and weapons related to white sockets are those that sell sockets to be blue, green, or red. Now appear on highest rewards or from tailoring and tempering orbs. I'm gonna be honest, like this is something that is gonna okay, I'm gonna read the last one and I'm gonna yap a little bit. Vorich's fortification save has rewards have also been adjusted. So the reforge. Okay, so rank 1 Vorichi, it has colors of sockets. Now it's reforging the number of sockets. Rank 2, and on rank 2 you have the number of sockets changed into colors of sockets. An item 25 times using the outcome of the greatest number of non-white socket colors. Okay, so obviously this is something that has been there since the beginning. It's just green goes into the green socket, red goes into the red socket, blue goes into the blue socket, and you can't go into the other socket. And now you can just put everything and that part is I'm neutral on it. Like it's not something that I ever really threw me off or ever really stopped me from playing the game or wanting to play the game. But I at the same time I can also if someone who comes in and if that's a pain point that might make them not play the game or make them want to stop because I found this like they said in the stream that I found this nice body armor but I can't put my I can't put my gems in it because they are different color and yeah it's not something that ever really bothered me but it also doesn't really hurt me that now the white socket is the default. Obviously it kind of feels weird because ideally you would still want to color the sockets. So like the ideal scenario would still be the one that you had previously, that it's all colored with the right colors, and then you put the corresponding gems into it, and everything just has a plus 10%. And I guess that's probably something that is like 10% is I guess significant enough to be relevant, but I guess on most gems, obviously there are like some exceptions. Obviously the first thing that comes to mind is one day where you have like certain breakpoints with the cooldown reduction, but aside from Holy Relic of Conviction, which obviously I've played a lot, I don't know how it is with other things, because it plus 10 quality, it can be like a little bit more AoE or a little bit more, I don't know, curse effectiveness or something, or maybe an additional projectile on like the lancing steel spraying, for example, that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's really something that would like necessarily break the game, but at the same time you still would want it later. And I don't know how much how much are we talking about if you're thinking of still coloring everything to the right colors with how they change the rarity, I guess, and the drop rate, I suppose, of the chromatic orbs. So I don't know how expensive it's gonna be to just get to the same spot socket color wise as you would previously. So it's something that is on one hand it's not something that hurts me, and it probably helps others, but at the same time it's a sort of change that is uh weird. Not saying it in like a bad way that it's weird, but it's like change generally is weird first. But I mean, we're gonna get used to it, just like we got used to all the other changes before. Yeah, it's fine by me. Now on the Talisman revamp. That's been Talisman was a long time ago. And they got that was like that sort of whatever it's called. When basically the talismans dropped better with better rolls or with like higher mods, but then it was still kind of awkward and no one really used them much anyway. Anyways, aside from when sometimes you get like a crazy drop and then like, oh, I can't really buy a better one anyway, so might as well use it. But now finally talismans are maybe kind of usable now with the revamp. Let's see the particulars. Talismans have been long neglected and have lacked a meaningful place or purpose in Path of Exile. With this update, we've made a number of changes to bring talismans back to relevance. Talismans now have special enchantment modifiers rather than special implicit modifiers and are no longer corrupted by default. Talismans have a chance to drop from red beasts or bestiary monsters, and each talisman is tied to a specific beast. Interesting. Talismans cannot be anointed, and their enchantment modifiers cannot be removed using the crafting bench option. All talisman base types are no longer obtainable, but will still exist in standard. Okay. No unique talismans can no longer be obtained as rewards after the bestiary content, divination cards that grant talismans, or Tane organs. Betrayal Safe House rewards. Tane organs, talisman crafting spree. Betrayal Safe House reward now offers regular currency to craft the talisman instead of tainted currency, because they are not corrupted anymore. Unique talismans are no longer in the core drop pool. They instead now have a chance to draw from bestiary bosses or from a new beast crafting recipe to create the new talisman, which requires the Black Morrigan beast to craft the premium one that does like the 6 link and other stuff. The Blightwell unique talisman is now found the shield craft talisman base type. Previously clutching talisman, it now has plus 50 to 100 to maximum energy shield, previously 20 to 30, and 10 to 50% increased flask effect duration. Existing versions of this unique are unaffected by these changes. The Eyes of the Grateful unique talisman now generates with 2 random enchantment modifiers from other talisman base types. It now has 50 to 100% increased enhancement modifiers magnitudes. Instead of implicit modifier magnitudes are doubled. These changes do not affect existing versions of the items. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not super excited about that, to be honest, but it is what it is. The Natural Hierarchy unique talisman is now found in the Rex talisman base type, previous Rod Feather talisman, and no longer has increased damage for a specific damage type. Instead, it now grants 10 to 15% physical damage as extra lightning damage, 15 to 20 lightning damage as extra cold damage, 20 to 25 cold damage as extra fire damage, and 20 to 35 of fire damage as extra chaos damage. Existing versions of this unique are unaffected by these changes. It's kind of nice, I guess. The Rigwood's Curse unique talisman now found in the Wolf Alpha talisman base type, previously Vertical talisman. That's plus 5 to 10% to unarmed melee attack critical strike chance, previously 7%. Existing versions of this unique are unaffected by these changes. Bestiary boss area levels will now match the level of the red beast used in the Blood Altar to create the portals. I thought that was already the case, I guess not. I guess I haven't really paid attention. In general, all bestiary bosses will now have greater life than before, which is more competitive to the life values on bosses from other league mechanics. The specific body armor unique items for each bishop will now only drop if the area level is 80 or higher. The bishop will craft to create a rare talisman has been replaced or craft the reroll the talisman base time, keeping the same implicit and explicit modifiers. So just change the base type. I guess the base type influences what mods are more likely to roll. Because I mean, if you keep the implicit and you keep the explicit, then you can't change. I mean, I guess you don't have an implicit modifier. You have an enchantment. Because at least the one that they have shown that they did not have a implicit modifier. They have an enchantment, and they had no. Whatever. We'll see how it really is. The best year crafted transform an item from an amulet into a talisman that is replaced with a craft that creates an imprint of a rare talisman. Primer Delirium Orb is no longer obtainable, but existing ones but still function in standard leagues. Trinkets that have the chance to receive additional talisman and items are opening a reward chest, and the highest instead now grant a chance to receive additional gold. The Cricket Chimeral Beast has been renamed to Cricket Croaker, which is a much more fitting name for a gem frog. Okay, so I'll be honest, I don't really care about any of this. I don't know. I don't really. Yeah, I mean, I've never used these, the Blightwell or the Natural Hierarchy. I don't think I've even used the Rival's Curse. Maybe like a little bit at some point, just like a transitional something. Maybe I put it on for like a map or something like that. And otherwise, like the Eyes of the Great Wolf, and just like if I see it is. So now they have enchantment modifiers, and then it's not just doubled, it's 50 to, like it even has a range. So like, I don't. Okay, I mean, I get it, I guess, because the whole point is that they made it enchantments instead of implicit. But I guess, so like, okay, so first of all, they made it non-corrupted, right? So that means that you can like do stuff with it, and you have the base. And then if you wanted a strong enhancement on it, or they wanted to give a strong enhancements to the talismans, then you would have it compete with anoints. And that's the thing though, like anoints are just so versatile, and you can just get it's just so nice that you can like get something from like the other side of the tree with an anoint. So I mean, okay, I know that there's like the stacker stuff and whatnot, like unaffected by ignite. I've seen that one on the stream, like, and I know if you like stacking the charges, and you can like, it's probably pretty good. You're like a +1 to frenzy or power or endurance, I guess. So pretty nice, but from where I'm standing or from where I'm looking at it, it's not exciting me all that much. And back to the Eyes of the Great Wolf, right? Like if the enhancements mods are stronger, then I guess it makes sense to give it a range and not just give it straight up the double as it originally had with the implicit modifiers. Obviously now it's enhancement modifiers and not implicit because of the whole change. So I guess if you have like stronger whatever, and like you have like a charge, and then it has to roll 100% for it to get 2 charges. But I guess if it gets like 2 charges, so I mean, would it be the? But then even then, I'm thinking you make that, and like, okay, that's crazy. But then don't you get more with the simplex anyway? Because then you're like using an amulet, and you have 2 enhancements, and even if it's like, if you have a max rolled Eyes of the Great Wolf, and then you have you have whatever. They have to be like very very strong, those enhancements, like it to double them, and then you just have to just not have any other mods on the talisman. I don't know. I'm not excited about any of this, to be honest. Whatever. At least talismans have a better place in the game compared to previously. I don't know. Not my jam. And also, it's like interesting. There's like they have greater lives than before, more comparative to life values on bosses or league mechanics, but then otherwise they're not really. Like I don't remember the last time when anyone was like seriously using the mod the stuff that drops from them. Okay, aside from the Farrell's chest, but then even the Farrell's chest is like, don't people use the replica anyway? So what's the point? I don't know. It's kind of weird, like this whole like talisman, like obviously tied to the beast stuff, but then the whole bestiary inventory is a mess still. Like I feel like this is just purely the possibility that you can like capture a beast and then it knocks out another beast from your inventory without like saying like, hey, hold up, stop, you can't do this because your inventory is full, and then you're gonna delete whatever monster from your menagerie. Yeah, maybe that is an error message or something, but I don't think so. That's not the reason why I haven't really done best share either, because it just like I'm looking for the ones that are like the good ones, and then in the meantime I have my inventory filled up with the yellow beast. But I guess with yellow beast it doesn't really matter if you like knock out another one, because they're just fodder, all of them. And then you have like unique, or I guess the red beasts, I guess, the ones that are like the actual deciding factor in the recipes. I don't know. I'm not super keen on this whole talisman bestiary stuff. Anyways, but I mean it's better. Like talismans are better, but that's also because they were bad. But you know, at the same time, I probably there's a possibility there's like some sort of enhancement that's like just so OP that I don't really know what I'm talking about, and they actually compete with a proper implicit and the proper anoint, or competing with whatever simplexes and whatnot. I don't know. It's those can be anointed, right? Like simplexes can be anointed. I don't know. Weird. Okay, league changes. After completing a ritual altar encounter, Locust will now point the way to the next altar. I think that's nice. That's nice. When in the Forbidden Sanctum, okay, now I just realized that maybe that Locust thing, maybe that is something that is actually in PoE 2 and I just never noticed. That is certainly a possibility. Although I've done quite a few rituals there, but I never really thought about it, to be honest. Maybe that's a behavior that was also pulled from there, and then I just never noticed. Whatever, I'll log in later and then check if it's actually a thing. When in the Forbidden Sanctum, flash charges are now restored when you interact with the Sanctum map between each room. This doesn't apply to the Writing Jar unique flash. Okay, now I'm 100% certain. Now we know. Volatile Wall Orbs can now be obtained as Sanctum reward. So now, yeah, like it's in there. Nice. Because that's a nice thing, and it can have even certain units that on like the regular range they don't quite fit, but if they had the possibility of rolling over a few percent over the top limit of the range for the mod, then suddenly they can be useful. Like with the shield that I mentioned before. Ultimatum is now the exclusive source of catalysts. As a result, they have been removed from the following. Ultimatum rewards from demolition and heist have been replaced by map rewards. Catalyst chests can no longer appear in Expedition, and Tucson can no longer offer catalysts from his shop. Catalysts can no longer be found as ritual reward favors. While channeling Verisium ore, you now cannot be damaged or stunned. That is nice. That is just very nice. Because it's so awkward, and like you clear up everything, and then you're like one straggler, and then you're sitting there and you're channeling, and then you're boop, and now you're cooked, and now it's all messed up, and now it's ruined. So no damage, no stun. That's nice. So at least you can charge it fully, and then you get wrecked when you get a lot more than you expected, and you fully channel. Anyway, I've had my experiences with getting rolled after full channeling. So betrayal. Syndicate leaders can no longer drop Allflame embers. The Syndicate Mastermind can only drop the Allflame ember of Kolomak. So what? So just scrap the whole Allflame thing, and then Allflame ember of Kolomak is the only thing. Okay. The average number of scarabs dropped from scarab chests in betrayal safe houses has been doubled. Trapped in stashes in betrayal safe houses now have a time limit of 15 seconds, previously 10. Cluster jewels from trapped stashes and crafting speeds in safe houses, a maximum item level 83. Item level 83. Vegan's fortification safe house reward is now a trapped stash in the shrouded uniques. This does not apply to rootless. Vegan's transportation safe house reward is now a chest containing trident scarabs. Breach. The average number of monsters in Breach monster packs has been reduced. The number of monster packs spawned in unstable breaches have been reduced by 25%. Progress for killing breach monsters has been increased by 70% to compensate for a reduced number of monsters. The maximum number of unstable breaches that can be opened at once has been reduced to 3. Filling ranks at passive skill and ranks breach of the map 10% from 20. 5% increase pack size, now grant 5% rare monsters. Evolving hives as passive skill now grants breaches in your maps 15% increased from 25. So it's a lot of nerds there. It's small passives that granted breaches in your map spawn. 8% increased magic monsters now have value of 5%. Changes do not affect the amount of heal or wounds you receive. Equipment items birthed by the Genesis 3 inherently have slightly less modifier tier rating and bias toward higher tier base types. There's also a lower inherent chance to birth additional equipment items. Maximum number of equipment Genesis 3 passives is now 16. Small equipment Genesis 3 passives, the grant chance is 25 from 50. Equipment Genesis 3 notable passives that grant increased chance modifiers of specific timer values of 300 versus 500. Nerds all around. I don't like it. Gotta accept it. That's it. It is. It is. It is. I mean, I get it. I get it. It was like the whole thing with the Astrolabe and whatnot. It's just going crazy with the breach. Like I get why. I get why all this is happening. But it doesn't mean that I have to like it. And yeah, it is what it is. Okay, let's move on. Endgame changes. Strange locations have begun to manifest on the Atlas, which Craig has labeled as anomalies. Upon completing maps affected by the Void Stone, there's a chance that when you next open your Atlas, an anomaly may manifest. Atlas anomalies do not require a map item to enter. Reflecting Mist and the Nameless are no longer randomly spawned within maps, but instead now appear in their own anomaly areas. Atlas anomalies are unaffected by a Atlas passive tree and cannot be augmented using any fragments, allowing them to be run at any time without feeling like they have to be saved for later to maximize potential rewards. That is something that I like. You can just hop in and do it, and you don't have to worry about anything. Reflect map modifiers have been reworked. Instead of causing monsters to reflect the percentage of physical elemental hit damage dealt to them, they instead cause rare monsters that have physical or elemental thorns. Physical thorns activates when hit by physical damage and lasts for 5 seconds, while active it reflects a fixed amount of physical damage each time the monster receives a physical hit. Monsters cannot gain physical thorns more than once every 10 seconds. You can only take physical thorns damage once every 0.1 seconds. Like, you're probably not gonna one-tap yourself on thorns. I think that's the idea, compared to one-tapping yourself on reflect. Elemental Thorns activates when hit by elemental damage and lasts 5 seconds, while active it reflects a fixed amount of elemental damage each time the monster receives. This is like the similar thing than the physical thorns. Dealing damage of the highest elemental damage type in a received hit. Monsters cannot gain elemental thorns more than once every 10 seconds, and you can only take damage from it from every 0.1 seconds. In red tier maps, rare monsters have physical thorns reflecting 800 physical damage and elemental thorns reflecting 1,500 elemental damage, which is probably should be able to be mitigated with like any reasonable build. I guess is the assumption, right? Because like if you do the calculations after all the reductions and whatnot, if it's like a flat fixed amount, I want the guy like the fixed amount is not scaled by the map mod, probably. Yeah, and then reflected damage from thorns is able to be mitigated through evasion, block, armor resistance, etc. So like I said, reflect modifiers no longer appear on corrupted side areas in the campaign. That is nice, because like that's kind of lame, and you're like, well, I can't do that because it's a reflect in the campaign, right? Like, and later you have like ways to mitigate it, but you don't really have those ways in the campaign usually. I mean, even then, it wasn't the end of the world. You just skip the area. You just don't do it, and it's not the end of the world. It's just nice that it doesn't happen anymore. Now, this is interesting part. The layouts following maps have been added back to the Atlas: Arachnid Nest, Basilica, Bazaar, Caldera, Tels, Channel, Colonnade, Coliseum, Conservatory, Crystal Ore, Desert Spring, Estuary, Forbidden Woods, Geode, Infested Valley, Laboratory, Malformation Museum, Phantasmagoria, Pier, Plateau, Ramparts, Stagnation, Sunken City Temple, Toxic Sewer, and Vault. There's like quite a few layouts that like I like, right? Like obviously Toxic Sewer, you like that. I guess Infested Valley, it's not too bad because they're kind of open. I kind of okay. I'm kind of okay with that. Obviously, Desert is nice. What else? Plateau is kind of neat as well. Okay, Desert Spring. Let's not talk about that one. And yeah, Desert Spring is what it is. Especially with the boss. But overall, there are ones that I like. The following maps have been removed from the Atlas: Acid Caverns, Arena, Ashenwood. I do kind of like Ashenwood. I kind of like Bog as well. Canyon, yep. Carcass, Castle Ruins. It's also fine. Courtyard, Coves, Crimson Temple, Crimson Township, Curse Crypt, Pal Cathedral, Dig, Dry Sea, Dungeon, Lava Chamber, Lighthouse, Maze, Moon Temple, Mudgazer, Necropolis, Span, Racecourse, I like the Racecourse, Spalker, that. Underground Sea, Wasteland, and Wharf. The Untainted Paradise unique map can no longer be obtained, and existing items cannot be used in standard leagues. Untainted Paradise can now be accessed through a randomly spawned event node on your Atlas, where it has received a few alterations to make it more difficult and rewarding. ... It's not ominous at all. But that's overall a nice thing. The Decayed Void Stone socket on the Atlas now connects to the Forge of the Phoenix, Pit of the Chimera, and the Lair of the Hydra, in addition to the Maze of the Minotaur. The Pit of the Chimera boss now spawns only one wave of enemies per phase. Nice. If that means what I think it means. why I think that's nice. Memory thread maps now display which map they will open. Nice. The Enshrouded Astrolabe has been renamed to Deceptive Astrolabe. Remove the item drop delay from versions of the Remembered and the Fear that can spawn in maps, such as From the Horn, Scarab of Awakening. That's also nice because then sometimes like, oh, is it dead? Is it not dead? Is it phasing? Is it over? Like the drop delay. It's kind of weird when it's in between like other mobs and other like in a different environment. Reduce the average amount of modifier effect applied to explicit modifiers when using reflecting mist currency on an item. This change doesn't affect the amount of modifier effect on mirror jewelry found when interacting with the reflecting mist object. Reflecting mist objects now have a much higher chance to drop a reflecting mist currency item. So if I understand correctly, the mist got nerfed, but in exchange there's a higher drop chance. So you have like more chances of actually playing around with it and not necessarily just, you know, having to sell it for it to make monetary sense. Okay, Atlas Passive 3 changes. Added a new Altered Prophecy cluster to the Atlas Passive 3. The notable grants you tier 14 plus maps. Grants your tier 14 plus map. Makes 4% chance to drop a Scrying Orb of Completion. Oh, that's nice. While the small passives grant your maps increased chance to drop divination cards and rootless, this cluster grants Scarab-related bonuses. The Scrying Orb is a new currency item that stores the map that the currency item was found in. It then allows you to scry the divination cards of the map area listed on the item of the map. Okay, so like that was like kind of a misunderstanding. Like, oh, you can like grab it and you can trade it. But I guess it's kind of the same thing. But you can like trade it. It's like, for example, if it's like a tradable thing, they said that it's a tradable thing. So I guess that would mean that you can like trade it away. Like for example, someone wants to scry the whatever apothecary or whatnot, or like other difficult you want to scry. So I guess you can like just like do it. I mean 4% chance to drop on completion. Yeah, so like on average, then you would like what 25 maps to that you would have to run the map 25 times if they go back purely by the chance to get the scrying orb for it. Yeah, so I mean the difference is just that it's not from Seer, but it's not from the Seer because the Seer is now in the anomaly, and then I guess you can also buy it from someone else that might want to scry it, and then you don't have to run your 25 maps or whatever to get it, something like that. I guess that's nice. The Brave the Tower Atlas passive skill now has automated boss drops 10% of a random catalyst. Previously a full stack of a random catalyst. Oh, I mean, because the full stack is now 20. Full stack of catalyst is now 20. So I guess it's the same because previously it was 10. So it's just the same thing, but like the same reward, but it had to be reworded because of the deck size change. The Dutiful Soldier Atlas passive skill now also grants blueprints found in your maps have 15% chance to have a special implicit. Cool. Player changes. Source of chance to avoid all damage from hits are now additive, with source of avoiding damage of a specific type from hit. Some damage avoidance stat descriptions have been adjusted to better communicate these chances. Adjusted to better communicate, these chances are additive with each other. Lower the life of various monsters when using specters. In general, no specter should have more life than a mate sack. Some of the monsters that have had their life reduced include the Unholy Aberration from the Unholy Trinity boss fight, Originator influenced monsters, and robot monsters found in the hidden area in the refinery. All non-spectre minions no longer pause while attacking. Enemy minions are didn't pause while attacking and are unaffected by this change. This change will be a significant damage per second increase for the following minion types in particular: Dominating Blow, Raise Zombies, Stone, Ice, Flame, Chaos, and Lightning Golems. Nice. Summon Raging Spirits, Summon Skeletons. Nice. I do like my SRS sometimes. Skills, items, and modifiers that once stated that increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attack damage have been replaced with the new Arcane Might keyword. This is purely a descriptive change. So yeah, it just got condensed into a keyword, but it's the same thing. So that's like the helmet. Now the name eludes me, but you know the one. But I'm sure there's like other sources as well. Okay, ascendancy changes. The assassin. The death mark notable passive scale no longer has marked enemy, cannot evade attacks. It has 10% increased effect of marks per maximum power charge, and 3% of leech is instant. Okay, I'm just gonna say that I know nothing about assassin. I haven't played assassin like I don't know how long. I've heard that it's bad, but you know, I'm not playing assassin. So all of these changes don't really mean all that much to me, but I will read them anyway. So where was I? It now has 10% increased effect of your marks per maximum power charge and 3% of leech and 10 per maximum power charge. The Mystical Infusion notable passive skill no longer grants base spell critical strike chance of spells equal to that of main hand weapon. It now grants spell critical strike chance bifurcates the stuff from BOE2 and 30% less spell critical strike chance. Bifurcated critical strikes cause critical strike chance to be rolled twice when determining if the critical strike should occur. If either roll succeeds, the hit will be a regular critical strike, and if both rolls succeed, the amount of extra damage dealt by the critical strike will be doubled. This is equivalent to doubling the amount by which a critical strike multiplier exceeds 100 for that hit. If a modifier makes your critical strike chance lucky or unlucky, that luck will apply individually to each of the critical strike chance rolls. Effects which cause hits to always be critical strikes prevent bifurcation. Those hits do not roll the chance, so cannot roll it twice. Makes sense. Hierophant. The Ritual of Awakening passive scale now has 3% more damage per summoned totem, previously 5%. Inquisitor. Added a new Instruments of Justice notable passive scale which requires Instruments of Virtue. This notable grants base spell critical strike chance of spells is equal to that of main hand weapon. So that's that kind of came down from the assassin, I suppose. The Instruments of Zeal notable passive skill now grants +3 to maximum fanatic charge, previously +4. The fanaticism buff now lasts for 5 seconds, previously 4, and now grants 75% less cost of spells you cast by yourself, previously 75% reduced. The Cultist added a new notable Unhallowed Rite, which requires either Wild Bastion or Forbidden Power. Unhallowed Rite causes you to gain a Spirit Infusion every second while channeling a spell. Each stack of Spirit Infusion grants 30% faster start of Energy Shield recharge. Channeling spells deal 10% more damage, and channeling spells have 20% more cost. Maximum of 5 stacks. You lose 1 stack every 0.5 seconds if you have not gained a stack in the past 2 seconds. Okay. Now, Reliquarian. The notables for the Reliquarian Ascendancy have been shuffled below other passives available for Curse of the Allflame. I'm not gonna zoom in because then it would break everything. But let's go through the pictures. So I guess we start here, and then we come out here, and so that's like one ascendancy, 0.2, and then the third one. And then we have the options of Elevor, plus 25% chance to suppress spell damage, 25% chance to avoid elemental ailments, and recover 200 life when you suppress spell damage. We got here the Apostate, removes all energy shield, gain maximum life instead of maximum energy shield from equipped armor items, and minus 12 maximum life per level. We have comms roots, plus 100 to maximum life, cannot be knocked back, action speed cannot be modified to below base value, cannot evade enemy attacks, cannot be stunned. We have Valkyris, you gain onslaught for 20 seconds using a wall skill, plus 2 to level of wall skill, all the wall skill gems. Then you have Dawnbreaker, so yeah, that's the shield I was yapping about. Oh, like 25% of cold damage taken as fire, 25% of lightning damage taken as fire, and 25% of physical damage taken as fire damage. So that's like better than the shield itself. Right? Because like that's the ranges are to 20, and even with the volatile orb, like better, I suppose. And then on the upper side, that we go from here, so that was like 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, 6 points. So it's like after the Merc Lab, you could get to this part on the upper side, one of the options. So let's see, Arakaali's Fang, 20%, no, level 20, trigger level 20, raise spiders and kill. The classic, Sergil's Crank, plus 1 to level of all spell skill gems, and 30% chance for energy shield recharge to start when you block. Okay, we got Black Cane. Each summoned phantasm grants you phantasmal might. Okay, I guess. Shimmeron, plus 8% to critical strike multiplier per power charge, plus 0.3% critical strike chance per power charge, and plus 3% chance to block spell damage per power charge. Femurs of the Saints, plus 1% chance to block attack damage per summoned skeleton, 2% increased attack and cast speed per summoned Raging Spirit, regenerate 0.6% of life per second for each zombie, and 30% increased mana regeneration rate per raised spectre, and they have Sands of Time, trigger level once spent in time on casting a spell. So that's like the upper side is one option. Oh, never mind. I thought we went through options, but okay. So like this is the one that you would get when you have all the points. This section. Screams of the Desiccated. You have Impenetrable Shrine buff while affected by no flasks. I mean, it's not nearly as great, but I guess you can have like a different belt. Obviously, it's not gonna be like Diamond Shrine or whatever. Presence of Chayula cannot be stunned. 20% of maximum life converted to energy shield. Gloomfang skill change plus 1 times. Projectiles that have changed gain 20, 10. No, I think it's 10% of non-chaos damage, extra chaos damage. Like I said, I don't want to like open it like up to bigger because like everything breaks. Polaric Devastation, 40% increased duration of ailments on enemies. Cover enemies in ash for 5 seconds when you ignite them, and cover enemies in frost for 5 seconds when you freeze them. That's pretty nice. Melding of the Flesh, minus 5% to all the maximum elemental resistances. Elemental resistances are capped by your highest maximum elemental resistance instead. That's kind of cute. And Calm's Binding, nearby enemies convert 25% of the physical damage to fire and 15% increased strength. And now we have the other section down there, which is like an alternative to this part. So you could like it this way, you could go that way. And on this side we have On's Might, 20% more accuracy rating while at maximum frenzy charges, minus 1 to maximum frenzy charges, and plus 100% to critical strike multiplier while you have no frenzy charges. And then you have Namahu's Flame, trigger level 20 molten burst on melee hit, and damage penetrates 20% fire resistance. That can be kind of cute for something. Then you have like a different weapon as well. Something like that. Enemies taunted by your war cries explode on that, dealing 8%. I think that's 8%. Probably. of their maximum life. Scales damage, Warcry skills, cooldown time is 4 seconds. Sacred Chalice, gain a flash charge when you get a critical strike, gain 20% of physical damage as extra cold damage if you used Zephyr Flash recently. Same with Ruby and same with Topaz, respectively. Fire damage and lightning damage. The Shadow Divinity grants summon Greater Harbinger of Direction skill, plus 42 strength and dexterity. Yeah, because like, I mean, Harbinger is kind of taking a break, sleeping somewhere, but I guess there's like a little bit of Harbinger to whet the appetite. Fidelitis Spike. It's always shock. Deal no physical damage. Herald of Thunder has 100% increased buff effect. Herald of Thunder has 100% increased when reservation efficiency. And then we had on Smite. So yeah, those are reliquarian offerings for this league for 3.29. Right? Yes, 3.29. All right. So, passive skill 3 changes. Added a new Arcane Conservation cluster to the northeast of the Witch's starting location. The Arcane Conservation notable grants 10% increased cast speed, 20% increased mana cost efficiency of spells, and 3% increased intelligence. Added a new Contemplative Meditation cluster to the northwest of the Templar starting location. The Contemplative Meditation notable grants 8% increased reservation efficiency of spells and 20% increased cost efficiency. Nice, because like it's a new cluster with that'd be like another cluster with increased reservation efficiency. That might be useful. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have added it. Or maybe technically you could just be like, maybe it's like a better position compared to like something else. Like maybe if like to reach the same effect, you might be able to, stay closer to the area on the tree that you are going through, instead of like having to travel for that. I don't know. I mean, probably because I'm thinking if it's like, reservation effect, and if you because like there are reservation nodes where you're like, oh, I really want to get that because then I can fit in another significant aura, and then depending on how how the breakpoints work out, it can be like it depends on how meaningful this is for the padding and whatnot. But I mean, I'm sure we'll just see the trees, and then we'll see if that really makes any sort of significant change to the Templar trees. All sources of reduced cost of skills on the passive scale 3 have been converted to cost efficiency at appropriate values. I'm sure, like, it's like, I don't know if it's like, same math but different name, or if it's like a different math, like the comparison between reduced cost of skills and cost efficiency. Because if you say appropriate values, then the appropriate value would probably mean that it's like adds up to the same reduction. But we'll see. All sorts of redo. Okay, I just read that. Okay, the totem passive mastery option that grants increased critical strike chance if you summon the totem recently has values of 40%, previously 60%. The Shaman's Dominion notable passive skill now grants 50% increased critical strike chance with totem skills, previously 60%, and the preceding small passive now granted 16% to critical strike multiplier with totem skills, previously 20%. So that's like a nerf to those totem nodes. That's fine, I guess. Sheesh. Okay. And we're almost at 20. Oh. skill jump changes. Okay, I'll have to. Okay, I'm gonna do, or at least I'm gonna attempt to read faster. Because this is a lot. It's like all the stuff. Whatever. We'll see if I can keep up. Okay, skill gem changes. I'm already having trouble. Okay, most spells that have received base damage increases also have higher damage growth with each gem level. For example, while Divine Ire deals 27% more damage at gem level 20, it now deals 37% more damage more damage at gem level 30. Shadow Team physical spells and pure cold hit spells higher critical strike chances, while pure fire spells generally have lower critical strike chances. Pure lightning spells generally have lower cast times, but the spells cost more mana. Pure fire spells generally have lower mana costs and higher effectiveness of added damage. And I'm just gonna have to try and I'm just gonna have to try and look at the numbers and see if it's like, you know, buff or nerf or whatever. Arcane Cloak, 10% from 10 to 14, so that's a nerf. Absolution, 0.65 seconds cast time from 0.75, that's a buff. Absolution of Inspiring, cast time 0.65 from 0.75, it's a buff. Arc now the cast time of 0.6 seconds, 0.7. The base mana costs have been increased by 25% at all gem levels. So I guess the cast time is better, but the mana cost is more. Yeah, change. Buff and nerf, or yeah. Arc of Oscillating now is a cast time of 0.6. You could also say that if it is like lower cast time and the mana cost is higher, then you spend even more mana if because you have more cast per second. Anyways, Arc of Oscillating, 0.6 second cast time to 0.7, like same treatment as the previous one. Arc of Surging, 6 to 9 additional targets from 47, it's above cast time. Same thing, 0.6 from 0.7 and 25% mana cost increase. Armageddon Brand of Volatility, 5-20% effectiveness from T70, and yeah, more damage as well. And base mana cost has been reduced by 20%, so that's like, I think, a buff on all levels. Barrage has extra projectile, 6 from 5. Ball Lightning, base radius went to 2 meters from 1.8. Cast time to, 2.6 from 0.7, and a 25% mana increase. Ball Lightning of Orbiting, 0.5 from 0.6, mana cost increase. By 25, Ball Lightning of Static, same thing, 0.6 from 0.7, mana cost increase, and is 4 cooldown uses from 3. Now, Blade Blast, 1.5 meters from 1.4, and crit chance, 10% from 6%. That's kind of neat. Blade Blast of Dagger Detonation, 2.8 meters radius, base radius from 2.6, and a critical strike chance of 10% from 6. Blade Blast of Unloading, 100% more area of effect. Blade Vortex, Blade Detonated from 80%, and a critical strike chance of 10% from 6. So it's like, that's like kind of the path that they took throughout, I guess, because Blade Vortex, 10% crit from 6%, and but the increased hit rate went to 30% for each blade from 35%, and same with the more damage. So yeah. Oh, there's so many gems. No, I can't do it. Blade Vortex. Okay, Blade Vortex aside, because like all the blade versions of it, I'm just gonna look and see if there's something that I actually care about. Command Cold Snap. No, I don't care. Crackling Lance. Okay, Creeping Frost. Dark Pact has been renamed to Dark Bargain. Okay, that's my discharge. Okay, cooldown on 1 second from 2 seconds, and 50% higher base damage per charge removed at all gem. So discharge buff, that's nice. Okay. Higher retribution, EK, I don't really care that much. I have Winter, 5 Storm, Flame Dash of whatever. Flame Blast Forbidden Right. And deals 14% of your maximum life as base chaos damage from 12. Impulse, Frost Bomb, Chance to Freeze. Added them. Okay, I like Frost Bomb has like some stuff with it, but generally does it really matter? Not quite. I'm just looking for something that I've actually played or planning to play. Like what? Kinetic Blast, 150% Arcane Might from 200, 4% less damage from 35, so it's like a nerf. Yep, here as well. Grain, Lightning Conduit, Tendrils, and whatnot. Orb of Storms, Squalls. I mean, Orb of Storms, 0.4, 0.5, and mana increased. Rolling Magma. Lower damage and effectiveness, so added damage at gem level 1, but it's more damage at gem level 20. Effectiveness added damage at gem level. Okay. It deals. Okay, I mean, it's cool that Rolling Magma is buffed on the higher levels, but I'm never. The only point I would actually use Rolling Magma would be when I was leveling, and I've already tried to look for every possible alternative option. There's not Rolling Magma. I'm not a Rolling Magma enjoyer at all. Okay, Spark. 0.6 seconds from 0.65, and base mana cost has been increased. Okay, Spark of the Nova. 6 to 10 proj from 8 to 12. And a little bit of a cast time buff, I guess, like from 75 to 0.7. Base mana cost increased. And Spark, Honored Void Spear, Vortexes, Wave of Conviction, Winter. Okay, so basically, anything that I'm really playing, they got left alone. So I'm fine. I'm fine, really. Well, jump changes. Okay, well, Blade Vortex, Cold Snap, Fire Storm, Fire Blast, Ice Nova, Spark, Storm Call. Yeah, it's right there. Control F it if you're interested. It's just numbers, and I haven't really played them anyway, but at least not in a long time. So I mean, I guess Stormcall got buffed while Stormcall. That's nice. Okay, so Archmage support jump changes. 8 to 14% of unreserved maximum mana from 10 to 16, so that's a nerf. Ballista Totem, support skills. Okay, that's a nerf. 36 to 30% less damage from 32 to 24%. A barrage, Blushing Mind, custom ward break. I have never even used that ever. Classified channeling, charged mind, companionship. Okay, companionship no longer has minions. Like this is like the interesting ones. Obviously because of the minion pact stuff from previous league. Companionship no longer has minions from supported skills have 40 to 60% more maximum life. They are your only minion at gem levels 1 to 20. Now has minions from supported skills take 24 to 26% less damage if they are your only minion. So obviously that gets around the thing nicely, because like if you're focused on actually playing with this with the minion, then because like they should be like the similar effect, right? Like minion having more life or the minion taking less damage, because like they would say both add up to just overall surviving to similar effect. But obviously that was the whole minion pact. The higher life the better, and then you just buff the life up as much as possible, and then you just You just get a bunch of damage from there, and then you take that with the blade vortex, and then you just keep it, and you keep up the blades, and then you just have that amount of damage for as long as you don't let the blades fall off. But it actually feels kind of awkward, and I ended up just dropping the blades a bunch, and then I drop the blade, and I have to leave the area, and I have to rejoin the area, and then it was like it was not as much of a as much of a clean gameplay as in theory it should have been, because I ended up dropping the blade vortex stacks quite a bit. But obviously that's gonna be over in like a few days anyway, and then that character is gonna be dead on standard. So gotta play with it a little bit more, I guess. And then there's the other half of it, because so it got killed on that part, killed from the companionship angle. And Minion Pact has been reworked and is now called Communion Support. It supports spell skills that hit enemies and cannot modify the skills of minions. Supported spells deal 20 to 30 added physical damage for each permanent minion at gem level 3. Has a cost and reservation multiplier of 150 from 100%. So it just didn't even have a multiplier. Yeah. It's dead, isn't it? It's over. Which I suppose is a good thing, because if there was another league when the gameplay is to just play the Minion package and then just be as defensive as possible on top of everything, and obviously Nice probably would have felt a lot better if I was actually doing the block angle, for example, like Gladiator or something. It felt like I couldn't really take as much advantage of having the full physical hit conversion to elemental. But I mean, I do like doing that whenever it's like possible. I think it was like possible when it was the exploded totems. I think at that point we had. So I mean, the point was there was like a bunch like recoup. So like basically whatever I got hit with, I actually recouped them all. So it was like pretty hard to kill. But there were like still certain debuffs that would take you out. I still get the situation here is that like even though I have like a pretty good good tankiness with all the like a conversion, but then there's like still some sort of dot stuff that can like sneak through, or like some recovery debuffs and whatnot. Then you will like stand on there, and then you just get rolled, or like the minus res debuff and whatnot. I can't really. I thought that I would just chill when I go in there and do the Exarch, but I don't actually chill, because if I get the mark under my feet, then it's still rough. I don't know. That was the exploded totem one way back. That I did. I was able to just just sit there and recoup all the damage that I got from the rolling fireball stuff. When the Exarch is phasing. So I didn't feel as comfortable with this one. Also, I mean, at that point, I did the challenges with the. So I did the challenges, and there was like one single boss kill that I did not do myself, But then that was all before the minion pack, and obviously later I did the same bosses with the minion pack character. So like eventually I would have gotten all the challenges anyway, but I just wanted to get it done at that point, and then I haven't really played much. Like basically I put together the character, and then once I put it together, there wasn't that much of an incentive to play anymore with it. But obviously you get an obscene amount of damage from the minion pact stuff, and then Blade Vortex was the one that would make the most sense. But I have realized multiple times, because there was the event before, I think before Mirage, when there was like the life stacking stuff, and that was basically the same thing. But instead of getting it from a minion pack, you get a bunch of flat damage from the life cost of your Blade Vortex, and then you have like the big one, and you just snapshot that cost kinda, and that was I guess a bit more awkward with everything considered. But yeah, and even there I wasn't enjoying Blade Vortex a lot, and I ended up playing it more into the Blade Fall of Troartus, I think, which is like also snapshotting the damage, and then it was enough to just cast it once at the beginning, and then you just run through everything, and then I would use the Blade Vortex on the boss. But at the same time, honestly, I could have just kept everything as is, and just have a 4 link of the Blade Fall, because it would have cleared the map just the same with the 4 link instead of the 6, and just have the actual Blade Vortex. But I just tried to do as much as possible to not use Blade Vortex all that much. It's just annoying when I have to keep up the blades and I can't drop the blades, because then I lose all my damage. But honestly, obviously, it's not that bad, and the crazy amount of damage that you get is just worth all the hassle, I suppose. But it seems that it's pretty gone. I don't know if there's like a proper use for it. It's like what you have, like a bunch of permanent minions somehow, and then you just get like a bunch of the physical. Like, okay, but like what, you get like 50 permanent minions somehow, and then you get like some of the, I don't know, it doesn't look great, doesn't it? Does it? If you add up the math. But I guess it's kind of over. Let's see if there's anything in the unique item changes that I care about. Everett's Horn. Whatever. Let's see this rule unique staff. Adds 100 to 300% increased spell, critical strike chance. Breath of the Council, unique scepter, and chaos skills have 40 to 80% increased skill effect duration. Use 40%, 80 to 120% increased chaos damage from 100, and 10 to 20% increased area effect with 10. Obviously, there was a time when I did use that one, but that was again many leagues ago. But it's nice that it gets a buff. I don't know if it's gonna be enough to do anything, or if it's actually gonna be used, but it's nice. It's nice. All right. Kingdom Unraveling. No longer has the chaos damage. Now it's +1 to maximum power charges. Now it also now has 5% increased cast speed per power charge. So they are like leaning into the power charges with the Kingdom Unraveling, I guess. The Service Limb unique scepter has 20 to 40% increased cast speed from 15 to 20. A Disintegrator unique staff. 2% additional physical damage reduction hits per cycling charge from 1%. It's doubled. 23 to 26 to 30 physical damage to attacks and spells per cycling charge. From 12 to 14 to 56. No, that's like basically doubled on that phys damage reduction, doubled on the edit phys. So that could be interesting now. I don't know how high you can. I don't quite remember how high you can actually get with cycling charges. I think that was like pretty nice at some point. If I remember correctly, it was like pretty usable, that stuff. Dorian is Delusion, unique boots. So this whole Dorian stuff, they got like buffed. I think that's what they mentioned, right? And the purities are level 30 instead of level 25. And then what? More life. I guess not necessarily more life, but higher max roll on a life. Higher max roll on movement speed, and higher max roll on. So yeah, basically they have like higher end, but they go all the way down to 0% increase. I don't know. That seems like a nightmare. At least they said that the map is not gonna be required for Lorianis Machinarium. It's not required for challenges. So it's a very nice thing. And they said that these are gonna be buffed, but I don't see how they are. How they are. Well, these woods are all now always found corrupted with the corruption implicit modifier. It's like you can't even like go crazy with it and define it. Like even if like let's say you find a max roll of these, even then I don't know how competitive they are. Oh well, I mean it's not like I'm really gonna go and chase these anyway. The Dust Dawn and Replica Dust Dawn, although maybe no, I'm just thinking like maybe you can like put this on the mercenary. And you have like a 30 level 30 purity of something. If that can work, if that works, I don't know. We'll see. It's fine. Because if you want them to be curse bots anyway, then you can like maybe just have what's it called, the wind scream anyway. Okay, moving on. The Dust Down and Replica Dust Down unique staves and have 20 to 30% chance to block attack damage. 10%. Honestly, like the unique item changes, I'm a lot more willing to just settle down and read through them compared to skill jump changes, because at least these at least even if I haven't used it, at least I was like thinking about using it. But the skill jump changes, they don't really tell me anything. How much they are actually do. Dust Dawn and Replica Dust Dawn. Okay, I said that. Ember Wake unique ring, 10 to 20% increase cast speed, and 35% less burning from 40. So that's a buff. The Replica Ember Wake unique ring. So yeah, double the cast speed, and ignites you inflict deal damage 40 to 60% faster from 35 to 45. That's like pretty number changes. I don't know how. Again, I don't really know how useful they are. Okay, Foulborn, Ghost Right, Ghost Right. Unique body armor now. The maximum energy shield is equal to 35% of your maximum life from 40. That's a nerf. The Grey Spire unique staff now is implicit modifier magnitudes are doubled, 300 to 400% increased global damage, and 1 to 5% all maximum resistance. The Divine Orb can be used to update existing items to new values, but they will not receive the implicit modifier magnitudes that double change. Okay. Graven, the unique Axe now is attacks with this weapon have added fire damage equal to 6 to 10% of the player's maximum life. Okay, that's nerfed. The Gaul unique helmet now has 25 to 50% increased effect of shrine buffs on you, previously 75%. And 25 to 50% increased duration of shrine effects on you, previously 50%. Existing versions of this unique can be updated to the new values with the Divine Orb, but why would you? Fair enough. Why would you, indeed? I mean, I know the gold stuff was a thing and has been a thing for a while. I haven't used it in quite a bit, so it's a bit sad. It's a bit sad that the ghoul got nerfed like this. Even the top rotation just 50. I mean, I guess it's still usable. I mean, I guess it's still, yeah, I guess it's still usable. If you want to do the same thing, no matter what. Just the numbers are lower. Anyways, the Fileborn Hardbound Loop Unique Ring, now it's 20 to 30% increased mana cost efficiency of minion skills. And now reduced to 10 to 20% reduced mana cost of minion skills. So that's like the whole, you know, stat shift, or like naming shift from mana cost, reduced mana cost to mana cost efficiency. The Hate Forge unique gloves has 20 to 40% increased rage cost efficiency, so that I guess they do the same thing with rage. The Honor Home unique helmet now has 30 to 50% increased mana cost efficiency. Jikwan's potential unique stuff adds 1 to 20 for 35 lightning damage to spells for 10 intelligence. Previously 1 to 31 to 53. That's quite a significant nerf there. The Fileborn Khaleesi's Grace unique gloves now have 100% increased mana cost efficiency with 2 seconds of spending, a total of 800 mana. So yeah, same thing with the name change, stat change stuff. Lana's Remorse unique shield now has minus 150 physical damage taken from projectile attacks, previously minus 25. A Divine Orb can be used on existing versions of the unique to obtain new values. I mean, I guess that's nice. I don't know if that makes it playable or what. I guess that has like other stats, so I guess it's just like a nice extra top of it. Mask of the Stage Demon unique helmet now to regenerate 1% of life per second per 500 player maximum energy shield. Previously by 500 maximum energy shield. No, I'm just thinking that like it went from 500 maximum energy shield to 500 player maximum energy shield. I mean, I'm thinking it's like with the mercenaries coming back and whatnot, like relevant in that sort of way. The Mask of the Tribunal unique helmet now has 3% increased mana reservation efficiency of skills per 250 total attributes. Previously 2%. Existing items can be updated with Divine Orb. Martyr of Innocence unique staff has a plus 22 25% chance to block attack damage while filling a staff. Previously plus 12 to 16 and 100 to 200% increased fire damage. So I'm seeing kind of like the pattern on like increasing the the block numbers on the staff. So that plus the mono charged staff kind of like pushes it towards the higher block territory that I was like yapping about like way back earlier when I was talking about the mana charge stuff. Also, I apologize about that noise. That was just my water bottle, or like the bottle that the water is in. I need to drink quite a bit because I've been yapping a lot. So just have it with me. Where were we? The Maw of Mischief unique helmet now has 40 to 60% increased mana cost efficiency of minion skills. I don't know, kind of bored of going through all these. Oh, increased mana cost efficiency from reduced mana cost. That part I'm kind of bored of reading through. But they are all changes and they have to be made, because if they change the stat from reduced mana cost to mana cost efficiency, or increased mana cost efficiency. The Militant Fate unit jewel now has 30% increased mana cost efficiency per 10 devotion. Previously 1% reduced mana cost of skills per 10 devotion. Yeah, that kind of stuff. The Mystery Refractor unique wand has like 10 to 50% increased projectile speed. Previously from 10 to 20%. That's like can go pretty high. That can be nice. The Nebulous Unique Scepter has 6 to 8% increased elemental damage per 1%. Fire Cold Lightning that's above 75%. Please 5 to 10. So I guess it can only go up to 9. So that's in the end, I guess in the end RF got nerfed. you can say that. I guess RF got nerfed in the end. Somehow they managed to do it. Obviously, like other stuff uses Nebulous as well. But yeah, my personal feeling is that dang it, they somehow sneaked in a RF nerf somehow. Okay. The Namahu Sign Unique Ring now has plus 400 to 600 to armor. Existing items are unaffected by this change. I guess that's nice. Praxis Unique Ring has a 20-30% increased mana cost efficiency. The Realm Shaper Unique Staff now is plus 2 to level of socketed fire gems, released plus 1, and plus 2 to level of socketed cold gems, released plus 1. Okay, that can be quite nice. The Red Pit Globe Unique Shield now has 3% increased spell critical strike chance per 100% maximum life and 3% increased spell damage per 100% maximum life, both previously 5%. The Divine Orb can, okay, so can be used on existing items to update to the worst values. I like how they are like, they have to say everywhere that the divine you can change it with the Divine Orb, but they have like some flavor in there. Like particularly the one where it's like existing versions of this unit can be updated to new values with the Divine Orb, but why would you? That is, yeah. There is still some flavor here. Update to the worst values, can be made worse with the Divine Orb, yeah. Like simply, Foulborn Wrathpit Globe Unique Shield is 3% increased dot per size. So again, you could say like that again. I guess there was like, life stacking nerf as well. The Shimmeron Unique Wand no longer has adds the lightning damage to spells or increased spell damage, plus the maximum power charge. And so yeah, that they changed that into the power thingy, power stacking item as well. Divine Orb can be used to update existing items to new values, but they will not receive the other changes, so you probably just shouldn't do that. Yeah, okay. Singularity Unique Scepter now has 10 to 20% increased mana cost efficiency. Okay, same thing. The Stasis Prison Unique Body Armor no longer has a plus 80 to 100 maximum life. It now has 80 to 100% increased implicit modifier magnitudes. I don't even know what the implicit modifier of the Stasis Prison is. But I guess it just doesn't have a life anymore. I mean, I guess if you think about it, it might not be the end of the world. Like if you needed the life, then now you can take the life mastery. Assuming that there are no other life mods on it. I mean, I could just check, but yeah. But if I'm assuming that it's like no other life tagged mods on it, then you can use the 50% increased maximum life if you have no life modifier on your body armor. So I guess it would like, okay, that does cost a point, but still it's not entirely a wash, I guess. Like all I'm saying is that losing the life on the body armor is not necessarily does not necessarily mean that you would lose life overall, or you would lose that amount of life overall from the overall mat of the character. So yeah, but yeah, that mastery is another point that now can't be used elsewhere. Or I guess you just don't take it and you just suck it up. Or maybe the Stasis Prism wasn't even used in a build where you would even have life, or even you would like go live. So I don't even know what uses Stasis Prism, because that was like, it's like quite rare. Anyways, moving on, the Stormfire Unique Ring now has adds 1 to 3 to 125 to 145 lightning damage to hits against ignited enemies. That's a pretty nice buff, because like Stormfire, I have been from time to time you see it and like, oh, it's kind of nice. I might use it, but then I end up never using it. Like maybe now I'll find a spot where I'm gonna use it. We'll see. The Terran Shiver unique staff no longer has a 56% increased spell damage. It now has +2 to 4 to level of all quad spell skills. Gems. Previously +2. 80 to 140 increased cold damage, previously 40 to 50, and 25 to 50% chance to freeze, previously 8%. So that's like really nice, no? Like a high level on the freeze roll. A cold spell gem plus the 2 level can go up to 4. Could be nice, could be nice. The Tawanuku, I guess. Tawanuku's timing unique ring now has +6 to 80 to maximum energy shield. It also now has spells cause you to gain energy shield equal to their upfront cost every third time you pay it. Previously every fifth time. This change affects existing versions of the item. The Tidebreaker unique mace, okay, that's the one that they show, the Tidebreaker. Tidebreaker unique mace no longer has 10% increased physical damage per endurance charge. It now grants 50% chance to gain a brine charge instead of an endurance charge. You gain 40% of physical damage as extra cold damage and as extra lightning damage per brine charge. Maximum brine charges is equal to maximum endurance charges. That's like, automatically feels pretty good. Like the brine charges, the lightning and cold. So I do like that. Just having its own identity. Obviously, I don't know in practice how much it's gonna be used, but I do like it, at least on the level of the idea. The Tukoma's Fortress unique shield now has 500 to armor per summon totem, previous 300. This new version of this unit can be updated to new values. So using Divine Orb, I think that's nice. The replica Toolfall 1 now has a 20 to 30% increased cold damage per frenzy charge, previously 15 to 20. Existing versions: Divine Orb, Replica Tukoma's Fortress, 30% increased critical strike chance per brand from 20%. Divine Orb can upgrade. Valakos Sign Unique Ring, 100 to 150 maximum mana from 20 to 40. Yeah, that's a pretty big change numerically. Vertex Unique Helmet now has socketed gems at 50% less mana cost, previously 50% reduced. This affects existing versions of this unique. Less. No, I'm just thinking because like here there wasn't any increased mana cost efficiency change. Instead, it turned to like 50% less mana cost. The Void Battery unique wand now I don't unique wand now has 10 to 50% increased spell damage per power charge, previous 25%, 50% reduced spell damage, but 80% reduced, and 100 to 120 with maximum mana. Okay. Wait, no, not okay. Okay, I mean, I guess the reduced spell damage went to 50, but then like the increased spell damage per power charge went down. So I mean, I guess it doesn't. I guess the idea here is it doesn't feel as bad. So like otherwise, you would, with the 80% reduced spell damage, you would only use it if you had like crazy high amounts of power charges. But I guess now that you get less per power charge, but the reduced spell damage went to 50% from 80, then I guess you could, like, you would like still use it when you are stacking power charges, but I guess you can use it before you get to like the end game, getting every possible source of power charge. So that seems like a neat idea. The Void Fletcher unique quiver is now found, the Ornate Quiver base type. Use a primal auto quiver. It no longer has gained 20 to 40 mana per enemy killed, for 30% increased projectile speed, and it has +2 sockets. Ooh. Okay. But oh, so like they moved the Tornado Quiver base type, so that's like the one socket, and it has like +2 sockets. These changes do not affect existing items. It also now gains a void charge every second. Previously, 0.5 seconds, existing version of this unit can be made worse with a divine orb. Hmm. No, I'm thinking like can be made worse, but like I'm just thinking like would you just retroactively change the base type, and if you use the divine you make it worse, or it would not change the base type, so you just have like the old void fletcher, and if you use the divine you would just lose the mana gain and the pro speed, and then you would just sit there with an item that has no sockets and no mods, or I mean the mods that you have removed with divine orb. I mean, I don't particularly know if this like now found on this base type, if the old base type is change related, because like it doesn't say that like these changes do not affect existing items, right? It's like retroactively it wouldn't change the base type of the old items or the already existing items. So I guess if you just use the divine orb, then you would just lose these for no benefit. I'm just just yapping about this because I'm thinking like it can be made where like would it also mean that if it would change? So what I'm thinking about is if they consider this whole thing or overall if they consider it like a nerf. Like technically if you could say that the changed version is a worse version compared to the old one, or you could or it might mean that you not get the socket stuff and like the base type stuff. Whatever, I'm not using it anyway. The Worm Sign Unique Gloves now has 10% increased mana cost efficiency per endurance charge, with 4% reduced mana cost per endurance charge. Existing version of this item unaffected. I mean, I kind of like to use that sometimes, especially on SSF. For a bit, anyway. The Yamax Accord Unique Scepter now has +1 to +2 to level of all skill gems. Existing items not affected. Reduced mana cost implicit modifiers can no longer roll on synthesis unique items. So I guess that's like a different stuff anyway. Increased mana cost efficiency, something like that. Item changes. Oh yeah, because like they messed with like synthesis stuff as well, or like the beast stuff, the beast splitting and whatnot. Oh, so yeah, that's another part that bears to be looked at. That was very good English. Anyways, let's just read through this part as well. Item changes. Non-unique synthesized items can no longer be obtained except through corrupting synthesis unique items to be rare items. Non-unique synthesized items can no longer be obtained. That's rough. No? That's kind of rough. Currency items like fracturing orbs, fractured fossils, and reflecting wings no longer explicitly state that they don't work on synthesized items. These items still cannot be applied to existing synthesized items in Standard League. They just don't have to state it anymore because synthesized items don't exist. At least no unique ones. The harvest crafting option to synthesize an item has been removed. The best way to craft to reroll a synthesis implicit modifier on an item can only be applied to unique items. Fractured fossils now fracture a random modifier and cannot be used on fractured and influenced items. Beast crafting option to split an item into two has been replaced with a new option that fractures a modifier on a rare talisman with at least 4 modifiers. Beast crafting option to split an item into 3 has been replaced with a new option that fractures 2 modifiers on a rare talisman with at least 6 modifiers. Ancient orbs can no longer reroll unique items in a unique item of the same name, which was possible with some unique items such as Beacon of Madness, Walker's Guidance. I thought that was already not possible, but I guess that was like some edge cases where it was possible. But like I guess in my use case, it never rolled into the same thing because I haven't used them on those edge case uniques. Volatile wall orbs cannot be used on items that have no modifiers that can scale outside of range. To be more consistent with divine orbs. Uh-huh. So I guess you can just waste them. I mean, okay, that's fair. Like, more consistent with divine orbs, but I guess you can just waste the Val orb, or you can just waste the volatile Val orb and not know. I guess you live and learn. Uh, I guess it tracks with everything else. It's not like anything is gonna pop up and like, hey, the thing that you're using on the item, it doesn't do anything. It won't do anything. You're just gonna waste the orb and you're just gonna waste the item, and then you're like, no, now you don't know about it. You can just use it, and then they're both gone, and then they're cooked. Anyway, okay, that's the thing. It would be funny, like you can just delete it for no reason. Mana and reduced mana cost can no longer be unveiled or crafted rings. Instead, you can now unveil or craft mana and increase mana cost efficiency. No, I'm just thinking back to all the times. Like maybe they actually did. Maybe they did nerf Holy Relic of Conviction at some point. Because I'm thinking back to just because like ideally you would like have the minus mana cost on the rings, and then you would have like mana gain on hit, and then you would just like get back all the cost of just holding down Lancing Tail spraying. But if it's like mana cost efficiency, it will like work differently because it's not a flat reduction. Wait, no, maybe wait. I think I'm wrong. Wait, no, that's like a different mod. Never mind. Because like reduced mana cost of attacks. That's okay. That's different. So I guess the flat can still work, probably. Otherwise, I would see it here, I guess. Okay, so I guess the minus mana craft is still safe. Okay, never mind. I'm walking it back. Okay. Mana cost efficiency, just mana cost of attack changed into that. Okay, that I think might be fine. The openness cluster jewel notable additional now is 15% increase mana cost efficiency. Okay, mana cost efficiency, implicit block modifiers and state longer explicitly requires no longer explicitly state they require a staff. I mean, it makes sense because if it's on the staff, then of course it needs a staff. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Chance to block attack damage and chance to block spell damage modifiers can now roll on staves. Ooh. Corresponding crafting branch modifiers also. Okay. So you can actually roll also those mods. Like it's not just the implicit. Okay. So then maybe there is potential to the whole block based with staff. Other useless staves can no longer roll chance to block attack damage while wielding a staff alongside chance to block spell damage. So these are up. 7 to 10% increase cast speed. Oh, Moonstone Ring. They hate it? Oh, come on. Okay, fine. I guess yeah, I guess in some ways it's like better, I guess. Like even you're not ES based and you're like, what do I do with this implicit? And I guess cast speed, at least it feels a little bit better if you're like casting anything. Whatever. I haven't used the Moonstone Ring in a while, but I guess that does matter to the Moonstone based uniques, I guess. Demon Horn, Opal Wand, Tornado Wand base sets increase spell damage, implicit modifiers instead of added damage. Modifiers to level of all spells, get gems, all spells, specific damage terms, saves, and additional modifier tier. Lower tier modifiers appear much more commonly and can roll on save that. Modifiers to level of all spells can go up to 4. Okay. That like kind of takes me back to, you know, playing RF with you know, fire stuff. But I guess I was like playing in movies, and RF is one thing, but also the fire trap. I guess I was playing fire trap with it, as one does, at least as one did. It was nice to be able to play something else with the searing bond of something totem instead of the fire trap, or like single target. Anyways, that's nice. More power to staves. I don't mind that at all. Increase spell damage, fire damage, cold damage, and lightning damage prefix modifiers and staves will increase to all modifiers. That was okay, nice. That's like more on that. All of the highest tier increased spell damage. All of the highest tier increased spell damage, fire damage, cold damage, lightning damage prefix modifiers, and caster weapons are more common, except for the except for the very highest tier. No, I just got stunned. Like there's a highest and then the very highest. Like there's like, it could be higher tier, but the highest tier, very high. Okay, a highest and then the very highest. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, moving on. The hybrid increased spell slash minion damage and mana prefix modifier the caster weapons have been increased, and all modifier tiers up to 49% increased at the maximum tier of one-hand weapons, previously 39%, up to 86% on staves, previously 49%. That's like a pretty big one on staves, from 49 to 30. Well, I mean 49 to 86. Added damage to spells, prefix modifier caster weapons have been buffed. With larger buffs at higher modifier tiers on staves, the highest tier modifier on one-hand caster weapons now adds up to 84 to 146 fire damage. And the spells from 6 to 115. Highest tier modifier on staves 140 to 246 from 88 to 155. Similar buffs have occurred for added cold, lightning, physical, and chaos modifiers. Relevant crafting bench, essence veiled, influenced, and incursion temple modifiers have been also increased accordingly. That's nice. It like pushes everything up on that. That was especially staves. I'm super down for some love for staves. Caster weapons no longer roll increased fire, cold, and lightning damage suffix modifiers, nor can these modifiers be crafted at the crafting bench anymore. That's interesting as well. Let's see if there's like something going in instead in that space, or maybe they just like wanted to like move that vector out of the equation. They can like buff these other modifiers, like the prefix modifiers here. Maybe there's like some other options on suffixes that maybe were like pushed out a little bit, or maybe I'm just trying to think about reasons why. As for the why of the changes, yeah, what was okay? So that's that. Increased spell critical strike chance modifiers on one-handed caster weapons now roll values from 40 to 109%, previously 10 to 109%. A new set of increased spell critical strike chance modifiers on staves, which have 50% higher values than corresponding modifiers on one-handed caster weapons. Relevant essence and graphic bench modifiers have been increased accordingly. So this is a buff. Yeah. Reduced enemy stun threshold modifiers no longer roll on scepters and caster staves. Thank you. That was a trash mod, so that's nice. Stun duration modifiers no longer roll on all weapons, but now can only roll on maces, attack staves, swords, axes, and bows. That's another nice thing. Like stun duration modifier and reduced enemy stun threshold modifiers. We didn't want that, obviously. So that's nice. Top tier increased cast speed modifiers and caster weapons now have the same weightings as the lower tier modifiers. Previously, these had lower weightings. Okay. So cast speed. Okay, I'm the more I'm seeing is I might just think about running a rare stuff, something like that. They got base types with 30% increase, now 40 to 45, 40 to 50 and 55, and 50 to 60 and 65. So they are like going up, pushed up by a certain margin. And edit. Ooh, that's nice. There's a lot of corruption, implicit outcomes. It's very that's very interesting. Okay, let's see. Increased aura effect of purity of elements and amulets. 20 to 30% increased mana reservation efficiency of specific auras and rings. +1 to maximum frenzy power and charges on rings. Ooh. +1 to minimum frenzy power and charges on shields and amulets. I mean, wouldn't that be kind of interesting on the rings? Because now you can actually have the +1 outcome. And now that synthesized items are, I guess, basically gone. Although, I mean, there's like still the unique ones. So I guess, because I think the unique ones still exist, and then you have like but it's like I'm pretty sure that's rarely gonna happen anyway. But like generally you can just like slam wall. I guess you just slam wall all the rings and maybe it's that. And you can still, if it's that sort of thing, you can like still what's it called? Tainted catalyst that. I think that's still a thing. I don't remember seeing it removed. So yeah. So that's nice. +2 to max fire res, shields and boots. Max cold res on shields and gloves. +2 to maximum lightning res on shields and helmets. And +1 to all maximum resistances on shields. Ooh, that's some interesting stuff. Versatile, combatant on shields, glancing blows on shields. 20-30% increased chance to block on shields, cannot be ignited, poisoned, bled on belts. That would also be nice. 20 to 25% increase mana cost efficiency rings. Okay, I mean, I don't know how it's gonna be like end on the end part, but let's say you have like random corruption hit and like, oh, I can't be bled. Now I don't have to worry about that. It cannot be bled. Is that the same as immune to bleeding? Like, is corrupted blood counts as being bled, or corrupted blood is, I guess corrupted blood is like its own separate debuff that needs usually like a corrupted jewel implicit. It's like corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you, or like you take the mastery for it, or I guess you can just use the flask and then press it whenever you need to press it. Obviously that's the base solution at first anyway. So 3-5% increased attributes on amulets, rings, belts, +5 to 10% the quality of socketed gems on weapons and shields. It'll be like interesting because the quality of socketed gems, and you can also get you also have the 10% from it being in the correct colored socket as well. So I guess you can technically but I guess it's on weapons and shields. But I mean on weapons you could have you could hit that on like what? I mean that's like the dream kind of thing, right? You have like the quality. Or even what if you look at the gem, like would you just try to hit it on yeah, I wonder how that series thing is doing. Oh no, it's gone. So no, I was thinking about because usually obviously I try to get either a series disfavor in my weapon swap, either a 6 6 white socket or like a 6 blue for leveling the gems. But I also know that those are we're like really leveling the gems. They have the the 3 socket quiver, and then they have like 9 gems, and overall you get more XP that way compared to running just the disfavor with the 6. But then you have like a delay, or like they are obviously not synced up necessarily like the same way, depending on what kind of bow you're like using. I don't know. I just that's kind of where I drew the line. And now I'm wondering how it's gonna be like. It's like obviously getting like a 6 blue socketed at series disfavor, it's gonna be like nigh impossible. And then I don't know if the white ones are gonna be like doing anything anyway. But I guess technically it doesn't really matter because it just says the quality. And then I would still ideally I would still want a 6 blue, right? Because then I get more more. So I'm just thinking that the ideally I could have disfavor with 6 blue, and then I hit the corruption, and then I have another, like I'm talking about dream scenario, like I have another 10% to quality of socketed gems, and I get a little bit more XP. Is it worth it? Probably not. But it's still kind of interesting to think about. Just dreaming. Let's dream a little bit. Dare to dream, as they say. All right, but let's move on. Obviously, that's not gonna happen. +2 to level of socketed fire called lightning gem to caster staves. Ooh, I mean, that's pretty fascinating as well. You can just manage to hit an extra +2 on it. But then obviously, if you have like a very good one, then you might not want to risk it with the corruption. Okay, so yeah, same with physical chaos gems, physical/chaos gems, and some caster staves. Not entirely the same, because like physical chaos is also on helmets, but the fire called lightning is also on the casters, only on the caster staves. As an outcome, 10 to 15% of damage over time multiplier to helmets and rings, plus 15 to 20 to global critical strike multiplier on the rings, 20 to 30% decreased light radius and helmets. There's like some interesting outcomes on rings. 20-30%, because otherwise, I mean, obviously you will go for like the poison stuff, for example, on like the Valyrium, or like things where you don't care about the implicit and stuff like that. So I guess overall I like that there's like a more interesting implicit corrupted implicit outcomes. And okay, we're looking at it, but then the real outcome is just gonna be, it's gonna turn into a bad rare, or it's gonna like I'm not gonna get the outcomes of these dreaming of, let's say. Unaffected by burning, chill, shocking, desecrated ground boots, unwavering stance on boots, 19 to 29% to chaos res on rings, amulets, and armors, 14 to 16% to all elemental resistance on armors. I think that was like a ring outcome that I guess now it's also on armors. For the 6% increased action speed on boots, 10 to 15% chance to gain onslaught for 4 seconds to kill on boots. Curse enemy with flammability, frostbite, conductivity, punishment on hit on gloves, and then socketed. There's a bunch of socketed gems supported by level 10 multiple proj fork chain to bows, multiple proj on caster staves, elemental pen on staves, area of effect to staves and 200 maces, cruelty to staves, 200 axes and 200 maces, rage to 200 axes and 200 maces, impale to 200 axes and 200 swords, and level 17 added chaos damage to 200 swords and bows. Plus 25 to 30% to global crit multi on wands and also on staves. Not also, because on staves it's 35 to 50. Okay, yeah. So it's like 25 to 30 on wands and 35 to 50 on staves. Plus 1 to level of fire spells. Fire spell skill gems on scepters and wands. Plus 1 to level of all called lightning spell skill gems on scepters, wands, and root daggers. Plus 1 to level of all physical chaos chaos spell skill gems and rune daggers and wands. Apologies, but in the meantime, there's that kind of a intense wind outside that was like kind of pushing the window a little bit. That made me look a little. So yeah, fire spell skill gem scepter and wand, cold lightning scepter wand and rune dagger, fierce chaos on rune dagger and wand. Enemies you kill have a 10 to 50% chance to explode, dealing a 10th of their maximum life and physical damage wands, rune daggers, and scepters. It's like what's like a kind of neat outcome, right? Like you corrode it and you corrupt it, and like, oh, now I have exploded on wands, rune daggers, and scepters. I mean, these are like kind of things that I feel like, you know, you have like a one, two, three like good-ish mods when I'm like, you know, leveling or like in early things. And I think like with these like outcomes, and especially because the colors are not that, you know, impactful anyway, right? Like you just have enough, you have the sockets, you have them linked, and then, you know, as they're like leveling, you're like sitting in early maps, you're not gonna worry that much about having or not having that extra 10% quality. So you can just like, you know, slam a wall orb and everything basically, and then you have like a nice outcome, and then you're kind of chilling for a while in, like, you know, towards like end-ish of the campaign, or like, so okay, we don't see like the exact level requirements for these here, to be fair, because like let's say that it requires like level 50 or 60 or something, and it's like then it's a bit different. But I guess when you're like leveling for the first time, you probably won't have as many wall orbs anyway, and you're probably not gonna, you know, worry about trading for wall orbs. I guess it's more like if I have like a wall orb, and if I have if I have both sides, then I can just give it a shot and maybe I hit. So where were we? We would explode like 10-15 for one rune dagger scepter, 20 to 25 for caster staves. Out of chain plus 1 times to bows. 14 to 18% increase cast speed to wands, scepters, and rune daggers. 70 to 90% increase spell damage on caster staves. And now we see the following corruption implicit modifiers can no longer roll. Reduced area damage taken from hits on shields. Reduced damage taken from projectile hits on shields. Plus 4 to 5% chance to block from shields. Modifiers granting level 21 and level 23 specific armor curse skills, increase burning damage from helmets, additional armor while stationary boots, additional evasion rating while moving on boots, increased cast speed from war staves, increased spell damage from attack daggers, increased aura effect of specific aura's corruption, implicit modifiers. Now only rolls on amulets, previously amulets, rings, and belts with values of 20 to 30%, previously 15 to 20%. So yeah, these are like all kind of gone. This is, I guess, like a 4 to 5 chance to block from shields. That's like, I guess matters in like some cases. But I guess we have I guess as a replacement, you have the increase block chance somewhere here. On shields, yeah, like increased chance to block and versatile combat and glancing blows. So I guess that's fine. And then yeah, I mean, these like aura or curse skills, it's like it's kind of good. It's kind of nice because it never really felt like it was really all that great, right? Because like you hit it and like, but you can't link it with anything. You can't link it with in enlighten the very least, or like with curse skill, you just have a curse skill. Okay, great, but you don't have have it qualityed up. You can't you know, link it to any sort of, you know, activation medium. And yeah, you just have like self cast it. So you just have to pay the entire cost of the aura. it's not that great, right? It's not that great. In the meantime, I'm having like pretty serious lightning next to me, so I probably should hurry up before lightning strikes and then everything is cooked. So yeah, I might hurry it up a little bit. We are at 3 hours anyway. 3 hours of yapping. Pretty wild. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, increased aura effects. Okay, rings with corruption implicit modifiers are granted 15 to 25% increased global physical damage instead. Now grant 50 to 25% increased global damage. This change affects existing items. Bats can now have a 6 to 10% increased maximum life corruption implicit modifiers, previously 6 to 8. That's above. Caster saves now have a 20 to 28% increased cast speed corruption implicit modifiers, previously 12 to 15%. That's above. Local adds physical damage corruption implicit modifiers can now roll on war saves. Local increased physical damage corruption implicit modifiers can now roll on war saves. Two-hand axes can now have plus 0.2 to plus 0.4 meters to weapon range corruption implicit modifiers, previously plus 0.1 to plus 0.2. This modifier can now roll on one-handed axes and swords. Divination card changes. The following divination cards have been temporarily disabled: Broken Promises, Imperfect Memories, Magnum Opus, and Parasitic Passengers. Existing divination cards cannot be turned on currently. The Apocalypse divination card now states the reward is corrupted. This is purely descriptive change. The functionality has not been changed. The call to the first one's divination card now awards a rare talisman. The Catch and Matryoshka divination card rewards are no longer incubated. The Home divination card now awards an exceptional support gem. Okay, rootless specific changes. Let's read that anyway. Ancient womb gifts are now relatively rarer compared to other types of womb gifts. The number of times socket colors are reforged for which transparency safe house reward has been reduced in all ranks. Talismans do not drop from red beasts, but are instead beast crafted as normal talismans in the menagerie. The Inquisitor's Instruments of Zeal notable passive skill is now the same as the base game, except it provides plus 5 to maximum fanatic charge instead of plus 3. Monster changes. We're almost there. The rare monster reward modifiers for transforming all items to armor or all items to weapons have been removed. Other reward modifier transformations still have the same chance to occur as before, although the Horned Scarab's tradition is more powerful as a result of this change. I have no idea what I just read. I'm just reading it. My mouse is just moving, but I don't know. I don't care. Soul Eater now expires faster on non-players, and Eaten Soul is lost every 0.2 seconds. The soul has not been gained in the last 2 seconds. Previously, that's 0.5 seconds in the last 4 seconds. That's good. That's good. That's good. Now that boss is gonna be the map boss that is like the copy of Alera, basically. And you're like stuck in the room. And then they keep summoning and they keep soul leading. It might be like a bit easier to deal with, or just like soul eater mobs in general might feel a bit less bad. And I mean, they weren't too terrible already. Like it was like kind of okay, maybe like a tiny bit annoying, but not really an issue. But still, this is nice. Exploding orbs from minions, fire, cold, and lightning explode on that rare monster modifiers and always explode after its duration, even if you are not in the area. Okay, so that's nice. Like, because like that's when you like leave, and then you come back, and then you forgot what's happening. You leave, like go out of the map, and you go back into the map for some reason, and then they explode on you. You're just waiting. I think that's what they are trying to change. Fast reward changes. All classes are now able to purchase faster attacks from Nessa upon completing the Cage Brute. Nice. All classes are now able to purchase faster casting from Yena upon completing Sharpened Tool. Nice. Mana Infused Staff. So like a Mana Infused Staff. It wasn't Mana Charge Staff, Mana Infused, my bad. Mana Infused Staff is now offered to the Templar for completing Intruders in Black and can be purchased from Yena by the Witch and Shadow. Okay, user interface and quality of life changes, and hopefully there's something good here. You can now right-click the icon for your animated guardian to view the currently equipped items, though you cannot remove or replace items from this window. That's fine. that's already great. That's already good. I can just look at it. I mean, I can, like, obviously I can kind of remember what I have it on here, and usually it's not an issue, but it's kind of nice that I can just open up and look at it. The majority of the currency items, fragments, divination cards, and other stackable items will now stack up to 10,000 in their respective stash tab types instead of 5,000. It was rarely an issue for me, but I'm sure it was like also a higher issue for other people, and it's like, just small change that is just purely positive. So it's nice. Repeat applying currency items no longer drains each stack in your inventory one at a time. It will now instead drain stacks fully before moving on to the next stack in reverse order that they were added to the inventory. There's like also something that's like I'm gonna miss a little bit, and like, it's like vibes on vibes alone. That was like nice. Like as you went down in the number in each stack went down. That was nice, but obviously from a practical standpoint, it's like, nice change, I suppose. So no complaints really. The pop-up showing expedition remnant modifiers while placing explosive now also shows the number of remnants affected by explosives and the total number of remnants in the area. That seems nice as well. The confirmation window for releasing Immortal Syndicate members can now be skipped with control click. That's nice, I guess. I mean, why do we ever really? I guess I just always just take them out. But I guess it's nice that you have an option. You can now use the instance manager to create or join new hideout. I mean, I know that probably it's like, actually, if you're playing it properly, then you probably actually want to, release them when necessary, but I don't really know. And just take them out, Anyways, you can now use the instance manager to create or join new hideout areas without changing your selected hideout type. That is nice, because you were like, okay, now my hideout is bugged, and now I have to go find Helena, and I have to swap with the different hideout, and I have to swap back to the hideout, and that's I like basically remade it. But so yeah, this is nice. Increase the number of characters visible on the character selection screen when there are no events or private leaks. So it's like the bottom part that is with the events, they're just gonna expand with the character list. That's also nice. Copying an item stacks now always copies the advanced description format. Nice. It will probably useful with like Path of Exile, or like, copying stuff into POB, that sort of thing. I think that's like that, or that's for that. Yeah, I think I missed that line. The total effect of wither debuff is now displayed on the debuff bar for affected targets. Yeah. And that was the description format. Searching it by an item's text will now match the advanced description format. Improved search, highlighting on the passive skill tree and atlas skill tree. And then we have bug fixes. I think that's gonna be the end of it. Oh, nice, many bug fixes. Fix a bug introduced in 3.27 where snipe support with grant triggered skills 2 additional arrows. Interesting. Fix the bug where area effect modifiers were applied to elemental hit twice. This did not affect elemental hit of the spectrum. Fix the bug where some sources of chance to avoid damage from hits were not kept at 75%. Huh. I'm pretty sure like most of these I'm hearing them for the first time that they were issues, but I guess it just means that they were not super prevalent, maybe. Or I personally haven't encountered them. That's also a possibility. Yeah, so fix the bug where Delve highest reward chests were still appearing in highest contracts and blueprints. I wouldn't know that one. Fix the bug where the Dying Light divination card could not be obtained from Maven's invitation, the Feared. Fix the bug where it that was Tool and it that was Ash could hinder targets which were immune to hinder. Fix the bug where the elite skill damage Atlas passives were not affecting some of her skills. Fix the bug where you could chance blighted maps to be unique. Huh? Interesting. Fix the bug where all scarabs of the same type strongest modifier will reduce the amount of scarabs that dropped. Well, Fix the bug where the 50% less physical damage taken per endurance charge removed on Immortal Call was counting minimum endurance charges which cannot be removed. Oh, so like yeah, so like you shouldn't count that because like that's not removed. That is not getting removed. Fix the bug where the mana cost of Orb Storms was higher at level 1 than at any other gem level. Okay, that is funny. Fix the bug where the 0.1 meters of radius per plus 0.1 meters to radius per nearby enemy up to maximum plus 1 meter quality. Stat for cleave and wall cleave did not provide any benefit after 1% quality. Lol. These skills now both have plus 0 to 0.1 meters to radius for their quality stat. Lol. It's like 1% quality and then that's it. Lol. Okay. Fix the bug. There's some orders from your skills which affect allies, also affect enemies. From the rune draft of Treachery, you could still apply some auras with the Hand of Freesia using gloves equipped. Okay. Fix the bug where Devour support could consume some monsters it should not, preventing them from respawning. I don't know what those are in particular that it should not devour. Fix the bug where certain minions could be used to bypass the summon totems of the same type limit from Cadigan's Authority Unix Scepter. Fix the bug which prevented the Hand of Frisia's increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills while you have a linked target not being able to be scaled out of its regular range by volatile wall orbs. Fix the bug where some sources which prevented you from blocking would not prevent you from blocking reflected damage, such as a cannot block attack damage found on the surface frame Unix shield. Fix the bug where the random shrine buff gained from the Guardian's Harmony of Purpose passive skill could sometimes pick the same shrine twice in a row. Fix the bug where the damaging area of the Shield of the Light could be different from the visual area of effect. Fix the bug where the Unholy Might buff was only granting chance to wither on hit for attacks. Fix the bug where dash would sometimes fail to dash over objects or terrain that it can dash over if the final location was not valid. Fix the bug where the toxic range scale from the replica lionized paws unique boots would show no stats on the scale hover in the character panel. Fix the bug where the minions could break their AI when stealing the fleeing monster modifier. Oh. I bet that was funny when that happened. And yeah. And fix the bug where taunt would sometimes not work. Fix the bug in Rootless where players would get more gold than expected when playing it hard. No, it's just always fun. Like, oh, Rootless, you got something. That's not allowed. That's illegal. We have to fix that. But I mean, obviously it makes sense. But it's just funny whenever I see Rootless. They had something, and that's not good. Fix the visual bug where when first entering the domain of timeless conflict, the monsters could appear to be standing up rather than sleeping peacefully on the ground. Okay. Fix the bug where several grandmasters were not using certain skills or not gaining bonuses from certain auras or support. Fix the bug where Smite could give you a buff aura if you hit a pot with it. Fix the bug where Holy Sweep could call down holy hammers on chests. I mean, isn't that fine? Come on. I mean, I guess if it calls down a chest, are those chests that you would have to click to open, or are those chests that you can like damage to open? Because if it's like damage to open chests, then I guess that's fine, isn't it? Whatever. Fix the bug where the portals to bestiary bosses are areas in the menagerie wasn't using the spirit portal effect. Fix the bug where the Solaris Temple 1 in Act 3 could sometimes generate an area over twice the average size. Fix the bug where the Solaris Temple level 2 in Act 3 could sometimes generate an extremely long descent. Well, yeah. Fix the bug where several passive scale 3 stats were being unnecessarily described as global. Fix the bug where reminder text was missing for passive scale pop-ups. Fix a long-standing bug where holding Alt on items will not display the advanced modifier information for enhancement modifiers or enchantment modifiers. Fix the bug where the damage over time for Frostblade scatter bases was missing PvP scaling. Okay, Fix the bug where the few other hideout layouts the monster level 20. These have been updated to conform with other hideouts level 60. Fix the bug where the Utmost Uber's Ruthless Keeper's challenge requirements were incorrectly changed. Fix the visual bug with the video scale. Fix the bug where the Basilisk portrait frame microtransaction was using an incorrect frame in 4K displays. Fix the bug where the hideout music player could not be accessed while using a controller while playing on PC. Fix a client crash that could occur. Okay, I got stuck on that. Could occur on Steam Deck. We really hope you enjoy Path of Exile, Curse of the Allflame. Thank you for your support. Thanks for your support. And updates for day, I guess, 26 July 17. Updated patch notes. The Mystical Infusion notable passive skill no longer grants base spell critical strike chance of spells equal to that of a main hand weapon. Now grants spell critical strike chance base for. Okay, so that is in there. That was in the notes. And yeah, so these are like the updated patch notes, but the like additions, they are also up in the entire text. And yeah, that is it. It was only 3 hours and 15 minutes. And there's like one or two things that in like the skill gens we didn't go through everything. But I think I reasonably read almost everything. So yeah. There wasn't like a lot of detail about, you know, the minutia of the gameplay. I mean, of the, you know, explanation. I guess they showed everything that they wanted to show in the thing, in the reveal stream, and then everything was also written down here in the notes, the patch notes. So I guess there isn't really much else to show at this point. So I guess we're just gonna, you know, find out, and everything else was detailed in the patch notes. So yeah, in all honesty, I don't really have. There wasn't really like anything that jumped out to me as something that I got like, you know, particularly super excited about. But there are like a bunch of things that when I look at it and I say, okay, yeah, that's a nice change, you know, that's neat. And I will have to see how much I vibe with the whole underwater exploration stuff. It's very nice that what they said, and what Octavian also mentioned later in the Q&A, that you will not, like, the lamps or like the torches or whatever under the water, they will not start running out until you have placed the last one. So you have like basically infinite time. You're like holding on to the last one, and then when you put down the last one, that's when things go on a timer. But then I'm thinking like, okay, you have the auto placement of those lamps or of those light sources, then I guess you would also automatically end up placing the last ones. So like, I don't know if there's like an option with like auto place everything except the last one, and then I would know when I have the timer running, or when I have to pay attention to when I'm going. But I guess if you just wanna get it done and you just throw down auto lamps anyway, then I guess you don't really worry that much about having to leave the area. Again, it's gonna be something that I will see when I'm actually in there playing the content. So yeah, that was the patch notes reading for 3.19 Curse of the Allflame. And yeah, enjoy the league. I suppose. Because I assume that if anyone ever listens to this, then they probably also gonna play the game. Otherwise, why would you listen to more than 3 hours of patch notes or wherever you jumped into it? Anyways, I think that's it. That's it from me. That's it from me for today. And I might take a look and grab something from the Mirage character or something about the Mirage character before it gets deleted because of the companionship and minion pact changes. So yeah, but for now I think this has been long enough. Okay, thank you and bye bye.